Hold it behind you, John. You got your phone. You can go. If you got your phone, you can go ahead and go under the lights. I gotta reboot now. You go to under the lights. Go to Facebook. Go under the lights, and you be able to dial in. There you go. Now,
Did y'all
this is
get
where
a,
you can go online.
Did you get one?
That's
Big
it
D?
right there. No, can I get a pen, bro?
A pen?
Yeah, I got a sheet. Yeah, I got a sheet.
You got some? You got a pen? Or?
Mic check.
Mic check 1 2. You got
Mic check. Mic check 1 2. I'm sorry.
put the mic right there.
Yeah, pump it up.
Yeah.
So you can see anybody.
Yeah. Mic check. Mic check. 1 2 3 4. My voice can't.
Mic check. Mic check 1 2.
Hey, you yell at all these kids and the teen and adults in here.
And it's your place.
Mic check.
Mic check. 1 2 1 2.
There you go, bro.
You got
Got one. Yep.
Yes, sir.
Hey Holly, are you gonna who's gonna keep track of the pigs? You doing it? Okay, cool. I'll try to bring Valera.
I'm from Opelousas.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Yeah.
God's country.
That's right.
Here we go. Welcome in, ladies and gentlemen, to week 14 of high school football here in the state of Louisiana. Hello. Is somebody trying to call you? Okay. Once again, welcome in, ladies and gentlemen. If you are tuning in now, hit the like, hit the share button. We have a lot to get to. We've got major headlines throughout the entire state of Louisiana. We have some games to pick this week. There will be teams punching their ticket to the Superdome next week. Also, you got 2 state championship games that will be played this coming Saturday. A lot to talk about. Little time. Let's go on and say welcome aboard. Let's introduce the panel at this time. Starting from my far right.
Donald Young, Opelousas. Hello, everybody.
Vinny Valera,
Hey, coach.
head coach at Catholic High School, Point Capilla, New Roads, but residing in Opelousas.
There we go.
Gary Swallow, Tiger Rock Martial Arts in Opelousas, Louisiana, and proud part of Under the Lights.
There we go. Josh Delahousie, assistant baseball coach at St. Martinville High School.
And my name is Jordan Taylor, and this is Under the Lights, and welcome to the show, ladies and gentlemen. We have Holly making her return to the crowd tonight, brought baby Espen with her. Also, Big Cody sitting in the crowd tonight, joining us for the show. Miss Cookie should be pulling up any minute,
Yes, sir.
and we should have a great show. Initial thoughts of Week 14 high school football. Let's go.
Well,
Initial
here we
thoughts.
go. Here we go. Jordan it's all or nothing now. All or nothing. Coach Vinny, what you think?
Yeah, it's put up or shut up time, you know.
Yeah.
You're either going to be playing for the state championship or you're trying to punch your ticket to go and play for it. And this is what all these kids and coaches work for, you know, all season long. And, you know, hats off to these guys for making it this far. And today, Wednesday, I know that all the game plans are in. And tomorrow, you hope to get all the hay in the barn and make sure your kids are ready to roll. And it's exciting time, especially in our state. We have such great talent and great coaching and, you know, just really good football teams. It's going to be a fun weekend.
I'm excited about everything. We got some news about different things. We'll talk about that later. But, man, this is going to be an exciting 2 weeks. It's going to be an exciting 2 weeks of high school football. Can't wait.
Yeah, no, just to kind of go off of what Coach Vin was saying, you know, just to be able to see the talent that you had around Louisiana, especially in the Acadiana area and other parts of the state. A couple upset this week, huh? last week, huh, fellas?
Yeah, big.
Oh,
We
yeah,
had some
a few of
big time games and some upsets that a lot of us didn't see coming, but a lot of us did see coming.
Right.
Yeah.
When you get to that point, there's no bad teams. They're all good.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
I completely agree.
Coach Delahoussaye, let me ask you this here. Y'all going through this right now. So now here's preparation. Okay. Hey man, how you keep your kids grounded going into the semifinals? You know, what would y'all tell them? And Coach Vinny, I know you've been with STM. Y'all been in this situation before. If you could shine in, you know, with a comment after Coach Delahoussaye,
Yeah.
you know, what y'all thinking about this week?
I think the key to any game, and I mean especially a playoff game, is just not letting the moment be too big. You know, understanding what your assignments are, understanding what your job is, and just playing your role for the team, and understanding that you have to rely on each other. I think that's going to be the biggest key to no matter who you play, you know, and especially in a major playoff game as well.
Yep. First, I'd like to give a shout out to Coach Dylan Ramagas. He's my defensive line coach over at Catholic, and he's
All right.
tuning in tonight. So thanks for tuning in, Dilly. Yeah, I mean, you get this far, and preparation-wise, you know, the thing is you're trying to stay in your routine, you know, and you don't want the moment to be too big for the kids. You want them to be locked in. But, you know, coaches don't start saying that in the semifinals or the finals. They start saying that in you know, the first round of the playoffs, that, look, we're fighting for our lives, but how we prepare and what we do is going to really be no different. We just have to be more locked in. And, you know, we got this far for a reason. So we're not going to change what we do. If anything, you start refining, you know, what it is that you do. You work on your fundamentals. You work on your technique. You make sure your bread and butter is intact, and you just make sure that your kids are locked in, understanding that, you know, you could be playing your final game. And so how sharp can you be at practice? Having great practices is important. So, you know, if you can keep your eye on the thing that got you there, the preparation and the technique and the fundamentals and who you are as a football team, and not worry about, oh, we're in the semifinals or, oh, we're in the finals, you know, that's a big deal. I can tell you, though, those kids that walk on the Superdome turf for the first time, you know, it happened to our kids in 2019. You walk in for your practice and you're just like, wow, these kids are like, look at the lights, look at the big screen, and it hits you, you know, it hits you. So right now you're not there yet. Keep focusing on your fundamentals, your technique. Don't change up what you do at practice, and just continue to work hard. Do what got you there in the first place.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we have game picks to get to, but before then, special shout-outs go out to none other than Buck and Duck, been a yearly sponsor with us from the beginning.
Right.
Buck and
Yes,
Duck
sir.
doing
Yes,
great
sir.
things in the construction business, and we can't thank them enough for being a part of Under the Lights. Also, Deaton's Cajun Kitchen just opened up a soft opening of the brand new Deaton's Cajun Kitchen on Monday. So congratulations to them, and thank you for being a yearly sponsor this year. Also, Mr. Vinny, you know about this, we all know about this, but special shout out to Go Preps and all they do with their website and so on. Great high school content at Go Preps. Hunter Bauer does a fantastic job keeping everybody know what's going on in the state, and we just want to shout out Go Preps for all his hard work this year. Also, the way we keep up with the northern teams is K104 Downs Law Friday Night Scoreboard Show. Have you seen them on Facebook? K104 up north?
Yes.
So that's how we
Yes.
keep up with all the teams up north. So special shout out to all the guys up there for doing a great job up north, keeping all the teams and fans down here in the south updated of what's going on. So some shout outs right there. All right, I have some major headlines to get to, and at any point that the panel wants to jump in, talk about it, discuss it, if you have headlines of your own, we're here to discuss it. I got a lot of headlines, and I want to discuss them as we go, if that's okay with y'all.
Perfect.
Let's
Go
do
for
it, man.
Perfect.
All right.
Go for it.
Starting off the night, we want to say a major headline from last week, 32,000, as we looked at it this morning, 32,000 views on last week's quarterfinal matchup that we covered between Abbeville and Union Parish. What a night, Gary.
That was
what a
awesome.
record-breaking night.
we had so much fun, Gordy. I'm gonna tell you right now, and the support that we have from everybody is just unbelievable. We can't say thank you enough, guys, because without you guys, we'd probably be doing it just for ourselves, talking to each other.
Yeah. I
It's
definitely
great.
want to take a second to commend y'all, man. I actually reached out to Jordy about trying to get involved with Under the Lights however possible, and he offered me to come and be a guest picker tonight. But y'all have done a great job.
Welcome.
I appreciate it.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
appreciate
welcome,
it.
man.
Y'all
Oh,
done a
yeah.
great job. I've really enjoyed watching y'all picks and just updates throughout the year. So hats off to you guys.
Yeah, I second that. I mean, this is a great program. I mean, you've got coaches watching, you've got players watching, and just, like we were talking before the show started, we have, and or maybe at the beginning, we have such great coaching and great players and great schools and great rivalries in our state. And what you guys do to accentuate that and bring that out and get get notarized for these kids is just great, And so we appreciate it as coaches. Our kids appreciate it as players. And so we're extremely excited to have this, and I'm excited to be here tonight. When Jordy asked me, it was like no brainer. Let me make sure I have nothing. I'll be there.
Thank you for
Yeah.
being here.
Thank y'all so
Well,
much. It's greatly appreciated for coming on and those kind words.
Yep.
When we have coaches that support us and talk good about us, man, it makes us feel good, and we can't thank y'all. And like I said, it's for the kids. We want to do this for the kids.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it's all about.
I could tell you, each one of us up here is all about the kids.
That's right.
Right.
To Gary, to Jordan, and Holden, Cody, and myself, Holly, my wife, Miss Cookie. I mean, we all do this. We're not getting paid for it or anything like this. It's all about the kids. It's a show that's sponsoring our local kids, and we're reaching out. Perkapee, Bazil, Kinder, Evolves. We're reaching out, and we're going to spend more than that. Yeah.
Oh, it's
right.
getting there. It's getting there.
That's right.
Yeah.
And I mean, if you want to think about it like this, if you're talking about the kids, I mean, the recognition that the kids are going to be able to get from this, just because I don't know how much y'all talk about them, but they're going to get recognition that they wouldn't have, other than local news stations. And I know what that feels like, having been from around this area and kind of having to do my own recruiting myself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's another big feat that I would definitely commend you guys for.
Well, thank you for that. But me and Jordy talked about this before. They have some teams out there that have never gotten recognition.
No exposure.
The homeschool team. I mean, they've never gotten. They've won 3 national championships?
I didn't know that.
Uh, 2.
I didn't know
Okay, they just won their 3rd national championship, and nobody knows about them. Nobody's giving them the exposure. The JUCO teams. We try to support these kids because without, and in some cases, without us, they have not had any exposure at all. You want to see a kid's face light up when Jordan says "player of the game."
Yeah.
Those kids light up, and it's like, and I'm gonna tell you right now, he does a great job. And we can say a lot about us. He's the man.
Yep.
I don't care what anybody says. Jordy's the one that
starts with him.
starts. It all starts with him.
Coach,
So thank you, Jordy.
Coach, we went to a Thursday night game with y'all in Kinder that came down to the wire,
Yeah.
and going do post game interviews just on the fly. That was all from the head.
Yeah.
Everybody else ran to the car. Let me go find Vinny and let me go find the player. I had no clue that Vinny would actually do a post game interview with me. But thank you once again for allowing us to come experience Hornet Stadium that night. It was a treat of a football game. That was for sure.
Man, it was a great game, and thank y'all for wanting to cover it. And couldn't have been a better opponent. Brett does such a great job over there in Kinder, and those kids played so hard, and our kids played hard. It's just a testament to both schools and the type of kids that we have, and communities. I mean, what we do at Catholic Point Capee is really on the backs of our families and the community that we have. It's a special community, close-knit community. Our kids know how to work hard. They know how to work hard for one another and be selfless, and so it was awesome to have you guys there, man. Our kids were excited when we told them, we're getting the live broadcast. They were very jacked up. So yeah, thank y'all again.
But the pressure is for instance, on me, because when you had to play against Westminster,
Right.
and then you had to play against OC,
Right,
and
right.
And I'm like, and they're waiting on me.
Yeah.
The piano went, okay, man.
Hey, look,
Everything stopped.
and we stirring the pot, man. We in there. And if Holland would be there, Holland would be throwing stuff at him. It's unbelievable. We got to have a lot of fun, though, man.
Well, I'm gonna tell you, I coached Donald's son his youngest son, and let me tell you something. That boy right there, he was talented, obviously, but attitude, excellent attitude, coachable, extremely hard worker, and I remember a 4th down play. We were at Kentwood in the playoffs in the second round when we were still all together before the split. 4th down play, we beat Kentwood in their place, and we have to get this 4th down, and Danielle just powered his way, was not going to be denied, and was really a turning point in the game.
Really?
You know, momentum and everything. We won that game on the back of Donald's son. So he was a joy to coach. Been knowing Donald for a long time.
Right.
Man, just the epitome of what we want to be, you know, and kind of families we want to raise. So it's an honor for me to be up here with you guys, man.
Well,
Thank you.
we thank you for coming, and thank you for all the kind words. You know, we appreciate that.
All right, let's boogie through these headlines because you got some good ones. Starting off, major headlines from today: Division 4 between a Wichita Christian and Southern Lab. They gave me flashbacks of when Catholic Appointee and a Wichita Christian did it a couple years ago. But they put their appeal in yesterday, and they were approved. So they will play at the Superdome on noon on Friday.
Okay.
Gary, that's even better news for us.
Oh, that's great for us, man, because I'm going to tell you right now, I was like going, I said, God, dog, we usually watch all 9 games whenever they were at the Dome. I mean, we were then they did display where it was over there. Now we're going to watch almost all of them.
We get to see 8 of 9.
8 of 9.
We're going to Tulane this weekend.
Yes.
Yep.
Man, I'm pumped. I'm sorry.
Yes.
I am.
So Vinny, maybe you're in the high school coaching ranks. Maybe you could touch on a little bit more about what you heard from this meeting today. But LHSAA Executive Committee meeting has begun. It happened today. Any big headlines you've heard from your parish or big news from around the state
No,
from the meeting today?
I really haven't heard anything about the meeting today. Just the deal about them playing in Superdome, Wichita Christian and Lab, which is super awesome for those kids and those coaches and everything. But haven't heard anything other than that.
Okay. All right. How about this? West Feliciana makes the pitch for Adden Livonia after Livonia asks to leave the Acadiana district. So West Feliciana makes the pitch today for Livonia to join the district, but they want to split it in half because it would make it a 10-team district if they do go join. What do you think about keeping all those Baton Rouge area schools together and splitting it like that?
Yeah.
Man, it would be unprecedented. Your entire schedule is district games. Now, if you split it and you got your 2 divisions or whatever, how that all works for a district champion, I guess that would be something they'd have to determine and figure out. But just in terms of Livonia staying right there, that's a pretty good idea.
I think it's good for them because they're right there.
That's right.
Financially, that's going to be very easy on the pockets because now you don't have to travel down east.
That's right.
West going to come to St. Linda Parish. Financially, it'd be better for the program.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, let's go to our next headline. So far, I found three stations. Well, I say stations. I found 3 games that will be streamed this coming Friday. YourView. Familiar with YourView? Kind of like the old Cox Sports. Now they're YourView.
Okay.
YourView will broadcast Etna Core and Westgate this Friday.
Wow.
Okay.
Awesome.
Then we go down to Neville Tiger Network. Go to their Facebook page. You can find the link to their game. They will broadcast the semifinal matchup between Neville and Warren Easton. Also, VSN will cover Acadiana versus Ponchatoula and a Meat versus Jonesboro Hodge. So a lot of opportunity to sit in your recliner this Friday night if you're not going to a football game and watch it on your phone or watch it on your laptop or so on. So watch it on your TV. You can put it on your TV if you got all that good stuff. So a lot of good football going on this week. The question has been floating. Where is Under the Lights going this Friday?
Yep.
Yeah.
That has been the big question mark. I've had Union Parish phone calls the last 3 days, blowing my phone up. Union Parish wants us to go to St. Martinville bad.
I'd love to.
Oh, and I
Would-
guarantee you, St. Marvin wants you there as well.
We'll love to go, but here's the big question mark. We're handcuffed right now.
Yeah.
We have not heard from anybody from St. Martinville. We have not talked to anybody. We are handcuffed at the moment because how does playoffs work, Vinny? You have to get approval from both sides.
That's right.
Right.
So until we hear back from St. Martinville, we're in a waiting game.
Right.
So we want to do the game. We want to bring the fans a great semifinal matchup, but we are handcuffed at the moment. We're hoping to hear from St. Martinville tonight or first thing in the morning. So just
But
keep
Coach
an eye out
Dale,
on that.
Yeah,
can you
I'm-
make a phone call for?
I'm working on that as we speak.
awesome,
Trying to get all the contacts for Jordan.
Okay.
Miss Phaedra, Church Point will have a live stream also. I forgot who the lady is that's
Right.
doing it. And Sterlington also has their own broadcast team. So 2 opportunities to watch that semifinal matchup.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, next up. Here's some big news, and I'm not sure if the entire panel saw this news, but it's major news in the United States right now in high school football. News from Oxford High School. Junior football player who was on the varsity team passed away while attempting to disarm an active shooter at the school.
Yeah.
I
We all
heard
saw that?
Yes, I
Yeah.
did see that.
Yeah.
What
Yeah.
a hero.
Yep.
Yeah, that broke my heart to see somebody, that passed away, but it was doing such a heroic thing to save other people. And I'm gonna tell you that his name is gonna be legendary.
No doubt.
No doubt.
And I mean, it's a testament to that young man's character.
Right.
I mean, that's definitely the one thing you can take from that. And I mean, it's always a tragedy when something like that happens. So to be able to have some type of positive come out of it, if anything, it would be that. To be able to commend that young man and his family for raising such a great young man.
Right,
Yeah.
and the bad part about it is that you have one person that, and I'm sorry, you can say what you want. This young man that did this is a sick individual, and you had somebody that had such selflessness to just worry about other people, and actually they said he actually stepped in front of other people to save them. And it cost him his life. And once again, he's going to be a hero.
All right, let's go to another topic to talk about. 2021 all-district football teams were announced. Do you want to announce your all-district players while we're on the panel? Because the all-district teams were announced. Congratulations to the all-district teams and players in the entire state. You have some all-district
Well,
players you want to announce?
We do. I mean, I don't have my whole list in front of me. You have to go on the top of my head. But, I'll tell you a story about our all-district meeting. Our quarterback, who rushed for 1,000 yards and 19 touchdowns as a sophomore, we run the option, so he's like a running back. When we got in our all-district meeting, we had some guys that were, on the offensive side of the ball that were, hey, we know this guy's a first-teamer. What position does he play? What are we going to get him on? Because you have some flexibility as far as where you're going to put guys. You got a spot for an athlete. You've got spots for running backs. You've only got one spot for quarterback, that type of stuff. So our guy, Hayden Elliott, that was just one of those guys that was a consensus in the district. Hey, he is a first-team guy. He's one of the best players in the district. Yeah. We need to figure out how we're going to get him on. And so he got on as a running back, even though he's our quarterback.
But let me ask you this, Coach. For those people that's in Facebook land that don't know the procedure, how the procedure goes to select someone first team or district second team honorable mention? How that goes?
Basically, as the coach, you nominate your guys. And based on stats, and it's not really always stats. You can make a pitch for your guy like this is the heart and soul of our team. Maybe an offensive lineman. That this guy is without him we would not have had the success we had. That type of stuff.
Coach Blaze just checked into the chat. Vinny is fibbing. He told me, Blaze, vote him or I'll choke slam you.
Not quite.
Oh, wow.
But no, you nominate your guys, and man, speaking of Travis, I mean, we just get off track. What a job he's done at Westminster.
Right.
I'm so glad that he's over there and getting that thing back on track. But you nominate your guys, and the coaches, it goes up to a vote, you know, and if your guy didn't get enough votes to get on the first team, he's automatically nominated for the second team, so forth and so on. But it's really hard. I mean, you know, sometimes parents are like, you know, why did my son get this or that?
Exactly.
It's hard. You've got a limited amount of spots.
Yeah.
And look, especially in our district, I don't want to, you know, maybe I'm biased, but in our district, we got a lot of good football teams and a lot of good players.
Oh, most definitely.
And so
look
you
across
can't
the
get
board.
everybody on there. You can't get everybody, you know.
Right.
So it is what it is.
Yeah.
I agree with you on that. I mean, you got to look at, you got talent. I mean, how do you recognize everybody when you got so much talent
Yeah.
there? I mean, it's hard. It is hard.
It
It
is. It is. You know, and as a coach, you want to fight for your kids, but at the same time, you recognize the talent in the room and the guys you
Right.
played against. It's
Right.
like, yeah, coach, you're right. That dude should be on the team.
That dude
you know?
ate us up. You
Yeah,
know?
exactly. Exactly. You know, so
You know.
Coach, do you have parents that come back and question you?
it's rare.
Yeah.
You more hear it, you know,
the grapevine.
through the grapevine, but very rarely does a parent come and question it. But you know,
I was just asking.
a lot of those parents mean well, man. They want the best for their kid.
It's
you know,
human
and
nature.
It is.
It's
you know,
human nature. That's all there is.
And
to
when
it.
you're a parent, your child's the apple of your eye. As a coach, they're all the apple of your eye. You know, you don't just have one kid out there; you got them all, and that's just part of it.
Well, I
you know?
agree with you. In my business, I got a bunch of little ones that I have on this floor, and I send them home every day. But you know, they're all. I got some little ones and some big ones that give me a hug when they come in, and they give me a hug when they leave. So
Yeah.
it's all part of
That's
that
right.
that camaraderie and stuff. But yeah,
That's
you
right.
got a lot of them out there.
You so right.
Coach,
You know,
you
you made-
looking for a week 2 or week 4 opponent?
Yeah.
Because the Quincy's high on your tail right now.
Yeah, well, you saw that, huh?
Man,
Man.
I called DeQuincy a few weeks ago, and we could never get hooked up. We're actually full now. I filled my schedule up right before we went to Thanksgiving break, and I had a
Okay.
heck of a time trying to get my non-district schedule filled. I'd love to get DeQuincy back on the schedule. We had a good game with him back in 2019, and so we'd love to. Quality program over there.
Well, you're like me. You want to look for quality programs to
Yep.
compete with,
That's right.
and all that. And that's the gist of it. And you're doing a good job.
But let me just make this comment right quick before we move on. So, you know, being a security for the high school team, you get the opportunity to be on the sideline, listen to the coach's strategy and everything. With this particular game here, Danielle, you mentioned Danielle being a running back, but Danielle was a sophomore, and he had the opportunity to run the ball for Coach Vinny, because Coach Vinny was in charge of the running backs. So Danielle will always run to the outside. The hole was right there, and he wouldn't run through that hole. As Coach Del
was
Lucy would
bouncing.
bounce on the outside. Man, he came to the sideline. Coach Vinny got on him. He said, "I ain't gonna use the word that Coach Vinny actually said. If you want to be my running back on this team, want to run my ball, you gotta get the hole." And I'm like, "Okay, this is coach moment." So I exited 11. You know, I went down the sideline. So man, at halftime, he said, "Daddy." Coach Vinny got, hey man, I ain't got nothing to do with that.
That's between you and the coach.
Yeah,
Nobody
you and the
business.
coach, hey man, I ain't got nothing to do with that. But let's
Oh,
just
man.
say at the end of the season, he made all district. Well, sophomore he made second team all district running
Yep.
back,
Right.
and it paid off. And then the rest of the year, his career, he was all district, honorable mention in state, and all state at one time. So hey,
And one of the toughest runners we ever had
Yeah.
between the tackles. We get
Well-
behind his pads and play football. So
Well, I'm gonna tell you, man. Let me tell you from my experience, I'm close to Donald, but I'm a little older than most of you youngsters. And I remember whenever you used to have the heart and nose of football teams back in our day, whenever we were good at the port. You'd have people that would grab the face mask and yell you. I mean, just spit and everything like that.
Oh.
But they loved you.
Yeah.
And you know
Yeah.
they chew your butt out and,
Yeah.
and,
Mike
and
Artigo.
do what they got.
Oh,
Great.
God.
They do what they had to do. But at the end of the day, if you needed something, that
Yeah.
coach was there
Oh,
for
yeah.
because
Oh, yeah.
sometimes you gotta coach hard.
that's right.
And it is. But let me tell you something. All the coaches out there that coach hard and everything, and I know all that. I mean, I'm one of them. I coach hard. I tell my kids, if you're going to be lazy, get out. I don't want to
That's
waste
it.
my time.
Absolutely.
And I don't want them to leave. I want them to stay, but I want them to wake up. And sometimes you have to coach hard. But every kid I have, every adult I have, they know the love I have for them, everything like that. Now I know it's the same with y'all kids. You have the love for them, but they just got to be woken up sometimes,
That's it.
and that's what it's about.
I'm
And
sure
coach knows this.
I was
mean,
gonna say you can contest to that. You know, it's more so about teaching life lessons
That's
than
right.
about
Yes,
teaching
sir.
sports.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, and that's what you get out of that. You know,
Yeah.
they think that they just I hate you.
Right.
And it's
They
not.
pick
That's
it
not
on
what it's
them.
about.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
No.
if I wouldn't be putting this much passion and this much emotion into
Yes.
you, I wouldn't care. You know.
Right. We have a
That's-
saying at our school, Tiger Rock Martial Arts, Taekwondo Plus, whatever, teaching life skills and personal development. That's what coaches
Yeah.
do.
Yeah.
That's what you do as a coach. That's what you do. That's what we all do. That's what I do as a martial arts instructor. We teach them life skills that's going to help them out there.
Yes,
That's
sir.
what it's all about.
Yeah.
if those kids know that you care about them as a young man, speaking of football, if they know that I love them as a young man, as a person, apart from being a football player, then they are more apt to take hard coaching.
Oh, God, yes.
Rules without relationship equals rebellion.
Right.
And we don't want rebellion. We want them to come under the authority because the authority loves them and cares about them, and that's really what it's about.
Right.
It's not about, hey, run the football harder. It's about that as a little piece, but it's a bigger piece to it. Hey, be a man and do your job.
Yes, sir.
Your job
That's
is to
right.
run hard on this plate,
Yeah.
and be a man and step up and do your job.
Yeah.
And another man's telling you that because he loves you. And he
Right.
wants to see you succeed.
That's
you
right.
know, and
You know what? I
That's-
always did say this here. A kid mind is just like a sponge. Whatever you tell that kid or show that kid, his mind going soak it in.
That's right.
Soak
Yep.
it in. And that kid will remember everything you say
Yeah.
as a coach.
Well, that's what
Yeah.
they do.
And you see a coach, whether it's a female or male, a coach is just like another parent. And what I say to get wherever you tell that kid, wherever you show that kid can remember that in the future.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, sir. I have kids now for 20 years ago. They come back and tell me, "Thank you,
Yep.
Coach Young. Thank you, Miss
Yeah.
Cookie." You know.
Yep.
No, it is. It's the truth. That's it.
Yeah. But Coach, I'm glad y'all came because this the type of conversation we need to have.
Yeah.
You
all
know,
good.
Coach Delahousie, Coach. Hey, kudos, Jordan, to you for having them on the panel tonight. I really enjoyed this conversation, man. I know we never got to the meat of the schedule yet, but man, it just to hear the experience, that being shared with us tonight. Kudos to you, bro.
No, good. Most definitely.
All right, let's talk some more headlines, ladies and gentlemen. It is a big one here with Lafayette Christian Academy. They're going for their 5th straight state championship this weekend. Also, another thing to think about this one, Gary. When you think about LCA, they have hosted 4 trophies up so far, right?
Right. Most definitely.
In 4 different stadiums.
Correct. That's right.
Superdome.
Right.
I'm gonna correct myself. They have a chance to host it in the 4 different
straight,
states. The Superdome, UL, Northwestern State, and they have a chance to do it at
Unbelievable.
Tulane this weekend.
Unbelievable.
Right.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Trying to get in the record books
Right.
with John Curtis for 5 straight.
That's the only other team I could recall doing something like that.
Well,
know.
5 straight is amazing. But what Curtis's total? Oh, they got
They got a bunch.
They got a bunch. There's probably if it's a high teen or 20 plus. I mean, I'm sorry. Since John Curtis was created, they were state champions at one
I mean,
point.
JT's always done a
Yeah.
great job.
Oh,
over there.
most definitely. Love to hate him, but you gotta
Absolutely.
admire him.
Yeah.
Love to hate him, but you gotta
It's a
admire
saving
him.
Yeah,
effect,
yeah.
right? Just on a
But yeah,
high school
that's
level.
great. That's awesome.
Can they do it? They got a very good shot.
Oh, what? Yes, I'm gonna tell
That's
you, they
4
can.
different pitchers in the locker room at different stadiums with a trophy.
Yeah, with a
That's
sign saying
unbelievable.
state champs, with the trophy. Oh yeah, that's awesome.
All right, E.D. White. We talked about it before we came on the show.
Right.
E.D. White has not been to the state championship game since 1981.
Right.
Looking for their first title since the 60s. E.D. White, heck of a season so far.
Right.
Can they cap it off with that defense?
Yeah.
Man, I'm gonna tell you, Edie, that defense is for real.
Yeah.
We talked about, and we have a couple other teams that got some real defenses, but E.D. White is. We've played them before as Port Bear back in the Donnie Perron days, and I'm gonna tell you, they've always had a good program, but this is by far, to me, probably their best team in quite a long time.
Yeah. They're having a special season.
Yes,
And,
very special.
And if you
It's-
needed any more of an example for that defense, I mean, how about them just completely shutting down Walker Howard for the most part?
Right.
I mean, if that doesn't tell you anything there, you know.
Yeah.
All right, quick question. What was you doing back in 1971?
1971, I was.
What were you doing, Jordan?
Now,
That's the
you wasn't
question.
thought of.
What-
Yeah, I
why
can
would
tell
you
you. Wait a
bring
minute.
that up
How
right
many
about-
people on this panel was
I'm
not thought
telling
of?
What
What was going on in
Okay,
1971?
I was riding my big wheel.
I was 7 years old.
my
7
big
years
wheel.
old?
I was 7 years old with a big wheel running down the.
There you go. There you go.
Okay, here's what I'm getting to. The last time Haynesville and Homer met in the playoffs, it came in the
Oh,
state
wow.
championship game
Wow.
in 1971. Here's how the game ended in a tie. You know how they settled ties back then?
First downs.
First down.
Yeah, that's
You
what
know
I
how
Really?
Yeah.
Haynesville won the state title? They had first downs 19-9 in favor of Haynesville.
There you go.
Or
And they
first
won
downs,
the
and they
fir-
won
and
the
they won the
state
state
title.
title.
back
Oh,
in 19
God.
So this is their first meeting inside the playoffs since 71 in that
Wow.
historic tied football game in the state championship.
Wow.
Wow.
That's incredible.
Alvin just said, he said it's 27 or 28 for John Curtis as far as state titles. Can you imagine? I'm sorry, man. That's just.
It has to be up there in the nation. Right?
Oh, it's got to be.
Yeah.
All right,
They're
how about
recognized.
Avoyelles High School?
Yes.
Love what Coach Boone is doing over there. They are in search of their first ever trip to the Superdome. Already made history this past week by first ever trip to the semis. Can they go knock off Manny this week and punch their first ever trip to the Superdome? You love when you see teams
Right.
get there for the first time.
Well, I'm
And-
gonna,
and that-
I'm
okay,
gonna
but-
say, I'm gonna say it. They had a chance to beat them earlier in the year. They had everything going for them, and it. Oh God, it
like you
just
said,
fell
you said,
towards the
Coach, I
end.
just don't punt. Yep.
And I understand, but I think that this is going to be an exciting ball game.
There's no doubt.
Oh man,
All right, Edna Carr. We all know about Edna Carr. Here's a little bit about Edna Carr. Edna Carr has not missed a trip to the state title game since 2015. Also, they have won half of the last 10 state titles. What a football team, what a high school, what a dynasty they got over there.
Domination.
well, Jordy,
They got a chance to do it again?
we were talking about this earlier. Last year they were supposed to be rebuilding, and they were in the state finals.
Every year they rebuild.
And
It
yes,
doesn't
our
matter.
Karen Crow Golden Bears, took them down. But I'm gonna tell you right now, they were supposed to be rebuilding. Nobody thought they would ever get that far last year, and they were in the finals. Unbelievable.
I mean, just
They
think
just
about
reload.
the talent pool,
Yeah.
that you have in that
Oh,
one
my
area
God.
alone.
And
you know.
Coach Delahouston, we say that's out of New Orleans. That's right at it. And the call Warren.
You right,
Well, and that's
Cody.
exactly.
St. Aug and Brother
Exactly.
Martin. Man.
And
all
think
that
about the
talent.
names
Tell
that
you
have
what.
come out of that.
I tell you
Oh,
what,
my
if you're
God.
Coach Kelly, you've done had 2 days in Baton Rouge. Your third day, better be going to New Orleans and start
No doubt about that.
You're right.
Take
No
a
doubt
trip to the
about
Ninth
that.
Take a
Ward.
trip to that football game on Friday
Oh,
night and
God.
watch Edna
Yes,
Carr
sir.
play.
You're right.
Yep.
All right. How about the other two teams? Because they're playing Westgate this year in the playoffs. But the
playoffs,
other
right.
two teams at the bottom of the bracket of 4A. The last time a semifinal did not feature Neville or Warren Easton was 2017. So that's just something to think about of where 4A has been the last few years.
And you want to talk about powerhouses
Yeah.
from the north side of the state, Neville
Oh
itself.
God. Yeah.
Absolutely.
I mean, think about what they've built up there, and the fact that
Absolutely.
they've kind of taken a little bit of the life from West Monroe.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, Neville was before West Monroe.
That's right.
Right.
It was Neville.
That's
Right.
right.
Yeah.
And then Neville took a downslide, and West Monroe came to prominence. And West Monroe's a good, good, solid, steady program up there. But Neville's starting to get on the rebound, and they're saying, okay, there's enough over here for all of us, and they're really putting it all together again.
A lot of history,
So-
a lot of tradition
wow.
in Neville. Hard to
You're
keep
right.
a program like that down. for
You're
long.
right.
Yeah.
All right. Let's talk Acadiana's opponent this week. Ponchatoula,
Ponchatoula.
the Green Wave. Ponchatoula, if I were to tell you the last time they played in a semifinal game was 1952, you would call me crazy. They
what the
are
league
going to
is.
host a
Yeah.
semifinal, and it will be the first time since 1952.
Wow.
Also, the head football coach over there is in search of win number 300
Yes,
Friday
he
night.
is.
Right.
What a milestone.
The Wrecking Rams are coming into town. It's going to be
It's gonna be
it's gonna
awesome.
be
Yeah,
interesting.
it's gonna be
His
awesome.
game.
Go ahead,
You
Zach.
know, that's where T.J. Finley
Yeah.
went to high school at.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's where
right.
his little brother
That's
is.
right. His little
And
brother's there.
he have
Is
a-
his little brother
his
quarterback
little
as
brother.
well?
I'm not
His little
sure.
brother is a senior.
But let me-
His little brother is 6'4" and 210 pounds.
Man.
And right now he have like 65 schools.
Wow.
But the thing about it is,
hotel.
you have
Yeah.
these two teams. They're powerhouses.
How many
I'm
times they're going to
sorry.
get the football, Vinny?
That's the
How many
thing.
times they're going to get the football on offense? 'Cause
And on offense,
you're a special treat whenever it comes to keeping the football away from teams.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
Right.
yeah.
Fear the veer, brother.
Fear the veer.
And I'm gonna tell you right now.
Get ready for that fullback.
Oh yeah, they're gonna. We were watching. I was watching a thing on Facebook. They was doing the little. I think Jordy shared it. It was they were interviewing him, and I was like going, and I kept seeing them practice it, and I was like going. I said, "Yep, that's what they run. That's pretty much it." And they just kept on over. I said. If they get the ball to start off the game, they might give it back to them at about the end of the first quarter.
Yeah.
You know, and
Yeah.
then if the defense is there, but
Points are key
God.
because Ponchatoula gonna go score.
oh yeah, they're gonna go score. They fast.
Open offense.
Yeah, they spread and everything. They fast.
Yeah,
but the
they're
thing about
very
it is,
quick. Yeah.
if you don't have the ball, you
Yep.
can't score.
Can't
That's
score.
a recipe. I watched Kinder beat St. Helena in the first round of the playoffs because they kept the football away from them and
That's
won
right.
the turnover
Right.
battle.
That's right.
So,
That's the key. Keep it clean.
Yeah.
That's it.
Don't turn the ball
Can
over.
put pressure on that quarterback. They have, you know.
yeah, they got an
Acadiana
Alabama
have a
commit
chain.
in the D line.
Right.
Yeah.
Indiana got an
Yeah.
Alabama commit.
Yeah.
Nick Saban don't just come to Louisiana unless he
Right.
really likes
Yeah.
a defensive lineman.
Oh,
Well,
yeah,
y'all were
come
talking
just
about
take
the
gumbo.
talking about the turnovers. You know, it's a double-edged sword. You want
Right.
to keep the ball away from an offense like that, but you have to play clean. You can't turn the football over.
Right.
If you're gonna milk the clock, you better come away with points.
Yes,
We
sir.
we
Yeah.
watched we covered a game the Avoyles game against Red River. Avoyles dominated. Then all of a sudden they had a turnover going inside the 5.
Or completely
Completely
momentum switch.
switched.
Yep. Yep.
So you got to stay clean whenever you have
No
that
doubt.
type of offense.
No doubt.
You know, and Acadiana, my fingers are crossed for you,
Mm.
buddy.
All right, back on the LCA train here
Yes,
for a
let's do it.
second. LCA has played 13 different opponents this year, including Jamboree scrimmage. 7 of those teams have made it to the semifinals this year,
Really?
and 5 of them have a chance to go to the state championship
Wow.
Wow.
or play in the state championship.
That's crazy.
Wow.
So, what a strength of schedule
Sure.
that they went through. I know they had, a district was weak, but you look at their non-district and leading up. I mean, they had Zachary in the Jamboree, and so on. So
Wow.
that's just something there. 3 more state champions from 2020 joined the list and fall last Friday. Calvary Baptist, Madison Prep, and STM will not repeat this year.
No.
So
Yeah.
3 teams join Karen Crow and so on.
That's right. Hey.
Okay. How about third straight trip to the semis for Union Parish? We didn't talk much about Union Parish coming into the playoffs, but they're right back in the mix, trying to get back to the state title game. 3 straight trips to the semis. That's impressive.
None of
very
St. Martinville has anything to say about it.
And we got St. Martinville coach on side of us. And
Let's
I
go
wonder
Tigers.
who he's going to pick later.
I
a
have
mystery.
no idea, man.
I'm gonna hold my cards close to the vest. I'll let you know now.
All right.
But you know what, John? Getting back to Madison Prep, Calvary Baptist, and the other school.
St. Thomas More.
Thank you. You want to lose in this round. You don't want to go out in the first or second round.
Right.
You want
Right.
to, you
Oh.
want to lose in quarters or semifinals.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, that just proves you're one of the best 4 or 8
Yeah,
teams remaining
That's
in
right.
the entire state if that happens.
Right. And that's what it is. I mean, you look at these games. Some of them were close. I mean, and I'm talking about a point of this, that, and the other. And some of them were not.
Yeah.
You know, but I mean, this is the round where there's no bad teams.
Yep.
This is the round where there's no bad teams. We're going to see how it works, but it's going to be interesting.
Yep. All right, back on the Acadiana bandwagon for another minute, real quick.
Let's do it.
Acadiana,
Can you tell we like a kid?
12th trip to the semifinals in the last 20 years.
Incredible.
Wow, that's just
And they
unbelievable.
were not always
Very impressive.
A great football team.
Right.
They turned this around, what, mid-2000s?
Yep.
Yeah, pretty much.
12
Because
trip to
Lafayette
the
High used to
semis
be the dominant
in the
school
last
in
20
Lafayette.
years.
That's right.
You want to talk about perfecting your craft. The fact that a veer still exists, and not only that, but in 5A football, I mean, good lord.
But it's not that they still exist; it's that they still are dominant.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm
Yeah.
sorry. You can. We watched them last year, and I mean, it's just unbelievable how they control everything. The veer, if you can have the line and the backs to run it, and you just keep on rebuilding and replacing, their feeder program must be unbelievable.
Oh,
Yeah.
God, yeah.
Yeah.
It's like you said, it's the line.
Here, this is the veer.
Right.
Learn it. Here, this is the veer. Learn
That's
it.
right.
You know,
That's what it
that's
is.
what it is.
Yeah.
Yep.
But that's awesome, and I'm gonna tell you, that's one of my favorite defenses. Offenses. The defense, unless you have a stout defense that can basically just block up everything,
That's right.
you ain't gonna stop them.
That's
No.
right.
They're gonna get you 3, 4, 5 yards a pop, whether
That's
you
right.
like it or not.
That's right.
Yep.
That's right.
All right, St. Charles, the Comets.
Yes.
Great defense this year, play under brand new head coach. Because I don't know the old coach's name, but he
Frank
took,
Monica.
Yeah.
he took a step down last year. New coach comes in, gets his team right back to the state title game. But this St. Charles defense has been doing it all year. They did it one more time last Friday night at Notre Dame with a
Yep.
game-sealing interception to punch their ticket back to the title game. It's going to be their third straight trip. Third straight trip against LCA. So can they get it done? It's third time the charm.
I mean, they went to the Pios and punch them in the face.
That's not easy.
That's not easy to do.
That's not
Coach.
easy.
Now we're in Pio country.
But this is still going against LCA.
Talk about battle of the defense.
You know, that's
Yeah.
going to be a battle
Oh,
and a half.
yeah.
I gotta commend St. Charles for doing what
I
they're
was about
doing.
to say my
But
pick,
man,
by
that's
the way.
going to
I
be
was
one
about
of the
to say
big.
my pick.
No, let's don't do. We're not picking yet.
Almost there. Listen to
Oh,
this. 11 of the 20 teams who were in the semifinals last year are back this year. So, big number there. We're
That's
seeing
awesome.
some new names this year, but we're also seeing a familiar tree. How about Catholic of Baton Rouge and St. Paul's? What a game that must have been. That game was decided by a blocked extra point.
Right.
Wow.
Can you imagine that team? As much as we've watched them this year, as much as they've dominated, that must, like you said, that must have been an awesome game to have a blocked extra point decided.
And you know what, Garrett? Honestly, I would like to go down like that. Don't
Oh, yeah.
blow me out. Don't blow me out
Yeah.
15,
Yeah.
20, 25 points. If I lose in a game like that, that magnitude, block punt, block field goal, you
I
know.
think I
Yeah.
gotta disagree.
Oh,
To
yeah.
be completely honest with you, I don't want to have that heartbreak. You know, if you're gonna beat me, and be done with it.
Yeah.
Come on, man.
How does that? Well, you got both sides of the spectrum, right there.
Exactly. Exactly.
I would like to lose by
That's
a block.
awesome.
Yeah,
That's
You're
awesome.
either going to live with heartbreak
Right.
for a year or rage in your heart
Rage,
for a year.
yeah, right. You're gonna be mad at like, oh my god.
All right, next thing up. Two-port thing here for Jonesboro Hodge. The last time Jonesboro Hodge went to the semis was 1990. Boy, do they have their hands full this week.
You right.
No doubt.
Xavier Atkins leads the state with 205 total tackles, and he is currently ranked 8th in the entire nation in tackles.
Wow.
Right there at Jonesboro Hodge.
Hodge.
Wow.
Go ahead.
What a story.
He's the real deal. He's a ball hawk.
Yep.
He goes after the ball. He finds it. Whether it's he'll go get it. He wants to knock you down.
Yeah.
All right, a couple teams here getting back to the semifinals. When was the last time they got there? St. Martinville's last trip, 2002. Westgate's last trip, 2010. Haynesville and Sterlington's last trip, 2018. Amite and Logansport last trip was 2019. So that's some teams that are back in the semis for the first time since those time periods. Coach, y'all two know a lot of coaches in the state of Louisiana. How about River Oaks announces new athletic director, Coach Daniel Vandenberg? Ring a bell?
I've never heard of him.
Never heard of him, but congratulations to River Oaks' new athletic director, Daniel Vandenberg.
River Oaks is in their first year in the LHSA.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Second year,
Yeah,
first year. Yep.
yeah. They're young.
They had to-
I mean, they
Yeah,
some
they had to
youngins.
do
That's
a
right.
couple of games in JV, and now they're going to varsity.
That's right.
They like y'all guys, you know. That's what y'all youngins.
All right, let's keep this short and sweet. We don't want to drag this next one on, but thoughts on a couple of those. Where did I write it down? Thoughts on a couple of those. We did it last night.
Yeah.
What's it called?
Okay,
there
the
it is.
petitions.
Thoughts of those petitions that are going around. Is that what really high school football is coming to?
Oh, you mean about the petitions and everything?
Anything y'all would like to say about that, or moving on?
I think it's crazy, honestly.
I there you go. I think it's crazy. You know, I mean, nobody want to lose. You know, and the last time this type of magnitude happened when Minnesota played against the Saints. You know,
We talked about that.
no, it's
last
the
night.
Rams. The Rams played against the Saints, and that guy came in and hit
Right.
the receiver. You know, and man, the
That-
petitions
no
flew.
call.
Petitions flew. I
Right.
mean, they flew from lawyer offices.
Yeah,
You know,
I mean that's
you
crazy.
know,
I mean,
uh,
but that's been going on since the creation of football. I mean, we talked about it last night. The Miami Hurricanes lost a national championship on a phantom flag years
Yeah.
ago. Now, y'all probably don't remember that, but I was young and yelling at the TV. But I mean, and we had that missed call with the Saints. It's happened in collegiate, it's happened in pro, and it's happening in high school. This is the human part of the game. There's not a coach, there's not anybody can say that they had an official that said, woke up that morning and said, I'm going to make sure that y'all lose. I mean, yes, bad calls happen. You know it. I know it. We all know it. But I think that's crazy.
you know
How
what?
they
I
said, how we
played-
said it? Take your L and get ready for
move
next
on.
time.
I played, you know, football, you know, where it came down to a situation like that, and I coach basketball and football when it came down to a situation like that. You know, I mean, a missed shot or a shot in the aim one should have been an aim one. You know, I mean, a traveling car and the guy went to the goal with it. Or that's a question about the clock, and they had two more suckers, and the guy pulled up a 3-point shot from the half-court line, and he hit it.
Yeah.
And I'm looking at that doggone official, man. Whoa, boy. You know, but that happens, Coach Delhousse.
It's the
It happens,
it's the
you know?
human part
Yeah.
of the game, and no
Yeah.
matter what until they figure out some kind of magic potion.
It won't
Leave
go
it alone.
away,
That's
you
Same
know?
thing with baseball. A
Yeah.
home plate umpire controls majority
Really?
of the
So,
game, right?
there you go,
Right.
John.
But
Yeah.
and it's
Yeah.
more than that, you know, and it's kind of the whole camaraderie. And I don't want to go too far into it, but you know, that's a catcher's job. A catcher's job is to be able to build that relationship with
Right.
that umpire, and you kind of work off of one another.
Right,
You know, if
right.
you miss one, that's fine. If I miss one, that's fine. But we'll make it up to each other. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? And that's kind of why I'm for, or I'm against, should I say, the electronic umps, whatever they're
Right.
calling it. You know.
Yeah.
All right, here's the rumor that's been going around. If anybody has some insights on it, because we got one approved today. Rumor had it that Edie White had the opportunity to play at the Superdome, and the
Yeah.
principal shut it down. Any insight? Anybody in the chat? Anybody
Oh,
at the
God.
panel
But Vic,
knows
well-
anything about this?
Why a principal would deny that type of opportunity to have their team, you know, their team play in a I'm asking you to answer that question.
Well, I haven't heard that. I don't have any special intel on that, but I really do not know why a principal would do something like that. I mean, that's a once in a lifetime opportunity,
Yeah.
you know. And,
Yeah.
and if there's any truth
Right.
to that, which I have no idea, if it is true, there's got to be
There's
some
Well,
Some
logical
behind it,
reason
yeah.
behind it.
Well, I'm gonna tell you, we talked about it on the podcast last night. I'm gonna tell you right now, if that is true, and we don't know, we just heard, got some reports and stuff like that. That principal is denying those kids a lifelong opportunity. How did your kids feel when they walked in on that Superdome floor?
You
know,
think
you-
you're going to be ready, but
Wow.
when you get in there, it's like,
Oh my God!
Yeah.
So you're
Breathtaking.
denying these kids that have in the state of Louisiana, the Superdome is the mecca.
Yes, sir.
It is the other than Tiger Stadium, The Superdome is the mecca. Why would you deny your kids? Is it a money issue? Is it a issue that transportation or something? I'm sorry. There's no, to me, there's not an excuse in the world that you can put forth that's going to justify them not being able to play in the Superdome.
Yeah.
All right, speaking of the Superdome, news broke about an hour or two ago. You want to go to the state championships this year? Make sure you have your vaccination or your 72-hour negative test ready to go, because they will be checking at the door.
Yeah.
So that news broke earlier
I'll
today.
make sure I got mine.
So if you are planning to go to the Superdome next week, those are required. So that is some headlines there. All right, told you I had a bunch.
Let's go, bro.
Told you I had a bunch of headlines.
We like to talk, man. You gotta
Ain't
watch
got
it.
many games to pick, but
we got-
let's pick them. Tulane, I still have not figured it out. I've been asking all week about Tulane.
We don't. It's probably going to be the same thing.
I would think so.
It's going to either be a vaccination card or 72. I'm 90% sure that's what's going to happen.
What is this?
All right.
That's old.
This ain't mine.
Mhm.
You got one for me? That's old.
That's old. Just chunk that on the side.
All right, here we go. We are down to the final 4 teams in this public school bracket. You got 1A through 5A to pick tonight. Also, you have 2 state championships to pick this coming Saturday. Anybody that does not know, you got state championship games at Tulane starting at 2 o'clock and 7 o'clock.
Right. On
Okay,
Saturday.
we're going to start off in the 1A bracket, ladies and gentlemen. And if you would like to follow along with us, you have all the opportunity in the world. Put your picks in the screen. That's one of the reasons I heard about. Go back down.
Yeah, I'm reading right now.
Didn't want to go to them, but I'm not
Didn't
sure if
wanna
it's
go
true.
to-
So just rumors at this point. All right, 1A bracket. Let's talk semifinal football.
Let's do it,
And
guys.
we have a clash right out the gate. You got the 1 seed, Logan Sport, hosting the defending state champs of Oak Grove. You said it last week. If you want to be the champ, you got to beat the champ.
That's
Boy,
right.
do they have the greatest opportunity this Friday night when they're going to welcome in a ruckus and rowdy crowd to Logan Sport High School.
Right.
It's going to be a heck of an atmosphere come Friday night. Somebody's going to the state championship. Will we see Oak Grove in their final year in 1A get back to the state title game, or is it finally Logan Sports' year? We're going to start off from our far right and make our way down.
I'm going with Oak Grove on this one. At home, I don't see Logan Sport.
Go down the road, huh?
Yeah. What?
No.
Oak Grove on the road?
Yeah,
Oak
Oak
Grove's
Grove's
on
on
the
the road.
Yeah.
They're the 4 seed. They got to travel to Logan
okay,
Sport.
my bad, excuse me. Well, I'm gonna switch it up. I'm gonna make the home team. I'm serious, guys. I
Yeah.
mean,
Home field advantage means a lot.
The home team gonna be the deciding factor in this game. I'm going with
Yeah.
Logan Sport.
Coach Vinny?
Man, you know, Logan Sport is extremely talented. They've won it before. They know what it takes. But, you know, Oak Grove started the season off a little bit slow, and
Yeah,
everyone was wondering
yeah.
what's going on with Oak Grove.
You
There's
look at
nothing
that
going
schedule
on.
Yeah,
in the
you look
beginning.
at that schedule.
Exactly. There's nothing going on with Oak Grove. I have a hard time picking against Oak Grove this deep in the playoffs. Whether they're on the road or at home, they are always tough to beat. This is when they start playing their best football, so I'm going to go Oak Grove.
I hear you, bro.
Mr. Gary?
Man, I got to tell you, I agree with him. I think Oak Grove is gonna go on the road, and I think they're gonna be too much. I think it's gonna be a close game, but I think at the end, Oak Grove's gonna pull it out. Defending champion, to beat them, to be it, you got to beat them, and I think it's gonna go.
Mr. Josh?
Yeah, I think I'm going to stick with tradition here and then go with Oak Grove, man. It just kind of seems like they'd be a little too much to handle. It may be a shootout, but you never know.
Mr. Vinny, we talked about spread versus veer earlier today, and I got to think Power Football wins again this week. I got to go with Oak Grove on the road. They're going to get back to the title game. one more time before they head to 2A.
Yep.
Okay, so I'm the only one with Logan Sport.
That-
I will upset you guys.
That might be a good thing, D.
That's right. That's right.
I hear you, man. That's why they play the game.
That's right.
All right.
But I'm gonna tell you, it's gonna be a good game.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is.
Awesome atmosphere.
Right.
Yeah, it will. It will be.
I
Yeah.
tell you what, you got some crazy fans in this state of Louisiana.
Oh my God.
Why?
Yeah, you're right.
I read a post yesterday. I read a post. They said it's going to be a different game this come around because Homer beat them in the regular season and shut them out, blowout fashion. Haynesville lost their starting running back first play or second play of the game to ACL.
Wow.
Here's what I read, and I could not stop laughing. There's going to be 50,000 people at this game Friday night. Every news channel is covering this one. Hold on, I can't get past the 50,000 people.
It's like, geez, that's a lot of people.
But
That's more than they have at
It's a
UL.
yeah,
no doubt.
Damn,
No
that's
doubt.
more than
And the thing about
yeah,
this,
that's what I'm saying.
think
moved
about
to
all
UL,
these
yeah.
people all over the state, and then on a Saturday night they all meet up at LSU Stadium.
yeah.
Right, yeah, very much.
All right. Rematch between one of the oldest robberies in the state of Louisiana between Haynesville and Homer. This time, it's a date to the Superdome. I think that, Donald, you're going to start off with this pick.
Well, you know, Jordan, I'm gonna go with Homer on this one. I think Homer gonna carry over Haynesville. Yeah, Homer. Coach.
You know, it's hard to beat a team twice.
Yes, indeed.
It's hard to beat a team twice.
So much tradition with Haynesville.
That's right, and it's kind of like Oak Grove. You know, they know how to win deep in the playoffs. That's when they start playing their best football. But I just think there's something about Homer this year.
This year, you're right.
Yeah.
I'm going Homer. I'm going Homer.
I'm going with that too, Jordan. I think the fact that they played each other is something. But you know, like you said, it's hard to beat a team twice. But they didn't just beat them.
Yeah.
They put it on them.
They destroyed
and and they've been doing well. So I've got to go Homer.
The thing about Haynesville is they're gonna have a lot more to pick apart on
Right.
that film the first time they played because they got beat
Right.
so bad. Whereas Homer's gonna be like, there's nothing to fix, there's nothing to change, and
Right.
so that could be a disadvantage for you.
Yeah.
But
Right.
Yeah.
I'm with you. I mean it.
But you know, okay, it was one sided. You put your second. You know how it is. You put your second team, your third, and there's
That's right.
mistakes that's going to be made.
That's right.
Your starters are not going to make those mistakes.
That's right.
Yeah.
And if you have to put your starters in there the whole game, they're not gonna make mistakes.
That's right.
So
That's right.
Yeah. I mean, you look at the last two games that that Haynesville's had, you know, their last one being fairly close. So
Right.
if they're able to keep it close, I think that there's a chance they can upset. But I've got to go with Homer. I don't think it's going to be close, though.
Yeah, you look at it, and Homer. Man. Yeah. Talking about Homer for a second. Last year, we seen Homer for the first time. Dave.
Right,
We
yes.
started covering high school football closer and
Right.
getting to know more of these teams throughout the state. And Homer was one of those teams that should have got to the state title game last year.
right. Yes, that's true.
This year, they do get to the state title game, and we will see them on Saturday morning, whoever they play against. So give me Homer at home. What was that? 49-0 in the regular season. That score
It was
when they beat
something like that.
Haynesville.
It was bad. That's all I can tell
Yeah.
you.
All right, let's shift gears to the 2A bracket. All right, you got an interesting first pick here. An interesting first pick here.
I'm sticking with my big guy, Coach
Who?
Boone.
Well, who they playing?
Oh, he got to let him announce it first.
Oh
man.
man, I apologize.
Oh, well,
sorry.
you know who we're about to talk about. The crowd doesn't know.
I'm all into the game. Man.
He's excited. He wants to run.
Number
my God.
one, Manny Tigers. You're defending state champs. Tough environment to play in. They just set the tone early whenever they come out to all them fireworks.
Right.
Manny has Tackett Curtis over there and a lot of talent.
Yeah.
Avoyles coming in for a rematch with Manny. Avoyles A lot of people say they should have won that first game. They were a punt away
Yeah.
from winning that football
Yeah.
game. They
That's right.
get their rematch this week, and it comes in the semifinals. Avoyelles is one of those few teams that are not intimidated when it comes to playing a state champion.
You're right.
You have a lot to play for. You have a state championship bid. Gary, Vinny, Donald, Josh, Manny, and Avoyelles Part 2. It's hard to beat somebody twice. So we're going to talk about it and discuss it. Manny or Avoyelles? Start us off.
The thing about it with Vols, y'all remember, I think it was week 3 or 4 when we interviewed him by phone, and he called this. He told us, I will be in the playoffs, I will be playing in the semifinals, and we're coming down to Manny or Ray River, okay?
Right.
Coach Boone have a specific style of football that he's playing, and he's sticking with it. He said he don't like to punt the ball. He don't like special teams at all. They don't even practice it. at his
Unheard
school.
of, huh?
Yeah, they don't even practice special teams. But his system is working, and the thing about it, he have all his players back. You know, and guys, I want to say, you know, Avoyelles gonna take it.
First trip to the state title.
Yeah.
Big D
First trip?
says.
Yeah,
First trip? Okay.
Avoyelles gonna be their first trip.
That's
an upset.
That's an upset and a half right there.
First
guys.
trip.
Send a pick to market, man. That's what I'm talking
That's
about.
right.
Class 2A. They're gonna be the 3:30 slot
Yeah.
on Friday.
Friday, right.
Okay.
Coach Vinny?
What a program Manny has built. You know, tough every year, and if you're going to win the 2A state championship, it's going to go through Manny. You know that.
Yeah, right now.
Yeah.
But you know, Coach Boone at Avoyelles, you know, here's the deal. He's not going to punt. If he can get 3 yards, that's all he needs.
That's what he said, Coach.
That's all he
Three
needs.
yards every
He's
pop.
He's
Yeah.
going 4 downs. That's 12 yards.
Yeah.
So I think that you're going to see a very focused and well executing Avoyelles team. I think they're going to take down Manny.
Hello.
And some coaches
Coach
say,
Vinny.
well, man,
Avoyelles.
some
Coach
coaches say
Vinny
that doesn't
says
work.
Avoyelles,
That doesn't work.
girl.
You know, that doesn't work. That doesn't work. Yes, he's working
It
because
works.
he's in
Man.
the semifinals right now.
That's right.
Yeah.
Gary?
Dude, I'm going to tell you straight up, I agree.
Oh, 3 in a row.
Uh-oh.
I'm gonna tell you right now. I'm gonna make it pretty. I'm gonna go into my explanation. If Avoyelles keeps it clean,
That's right.
Manny won't have the ball long enough to score. If Avoyelles does not fumble, I mean, and
Recover one of those onside kicks.
yeah, and recover one of those onside kicks that they do, they're gonna beat Manny.
And the coach, yeah,
You know.
let me say this right here. Let me interrupt you right quick. Excuse me. I watched the huddle video a couple of times this past weekend. Big number 76.
79.
79.
79.
Yeah.
Keep putting him 76. He's a big wall.
God,
Big
is
guy go both ways, and he don't stop.
Yeah.
Number 79, they get right behind him or in his hip pocket, and they running right there with him at his tempo.
Right.
Coach, the dude is 6'8",
Right.
about 450 pounds. Coach,
You can
and
get
he
three-
can
you
move.
can get
three behind that.
Oh,
You
yeah.
can get three behind
Oh,
that.
yeah. So
But,
you talk about those 3 little, he going to get the
No,
3
that's
yards.
right.
I'm sorry,
but
Gary.
but this
hand him
is
the football on the goal line.
right. No
Yeah,
joke.
yeah.
But the thing about it is that I'm gonna tell you this straight up, and this I'm picking Avoyelles, but it has to stay clean. There can't be a turnover, and one of those onside kicks, or maybe more, they gonna get.
Yeah, there's no doubt.
But if there's a turnover, if it goes into a turnover battle, if there's a few turnovers, Manny's gonna win. But I gotta think that Coach Boone's gonna keep that ball control, and he's gonna keep it clean, and I think Manny's gonna be in the finals.
Well, what a view for the fans of state of Louisiana that they get to see Avoyelles offense in the dome next Friday.
Oh my
Oh,
God!
yeah.
They're gonna
Think
be like,
they'll
"Oh,
have
what is
some
that?
mouth drops in the dome?
What is that?"
Yeah.
But they have the opportunity, and,
right.
and you know what? Like you said, it's hard to beat a team twice.
Beat the champ.
To be the champs, you got to beat the champ. But the thing about it is okay. They've played Manny. If they would have punted the ball, they would have won. Okay, keep the ball clean, they would have won. They didn't. We watched them against Red River. That fumble inside the 5 turned the complete momentum of the game. I think Coach Boone keeps it clean, and they beat Manny.
Josh?
You know, I think Avoyles wants it. Y'all all pointed that out, obviously. But does that actually get in their way of winning this game? That's kind of the question, right? So, Manny's been here. They know what it takes to win.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna go against Manny. You can't. I mean, in my opinion, you just can't. You know.
Yeah.
So
Does the weight of the moment
exactly.
get in a Boyle's way
Right.
from staying focused, or is it, man, we got to beat them and we almost
Exactly.
beat them last time, and
You know.
Yeah.
or is it
And
just
if
going
that's
to
in
be
the back of your head,
Yeah.
that, look,
Yeah.
I'm not going to lose to you twice. Well, then they're already in your head
That's
before
right.
the game's even started.
That's right.
Yeah.
Perfectly said.
That's
fellas.
what the
There you
coaches
go,
got to do.
coach.
Get in there
Yeah.
and
That's
keep
right.
them right.
That's
And
right.
that's what I'm saying. But it's all a bust with Avoyles, because I'm gonna tell you they're senior heavy, and they're all a bust this year.
Yeah.
Because next year they're going to be weak.
All right, I picked Manny in the regular season. I was the only one, Vinny. The only one on the
He
panel
was.
that picked Manny that week. We listened to that game in the bleachers that night. We was covering Westminster and Sacred Heart, maybe.
How
Yeah,
many
it
of
was.
us said,
Westminster
punt the
State.
ball?
All of us saying that.
And
And he punt the ball, he wins the game.
Yeah.
so I'm gonna say semifinals. Give me Manny at home in a close.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Oh, all right.
He has spoken. All right.
Hey, but there's no bad picks here. I think it's going to
No,
be crazy.
it's-
It's going to be
It won't be a
this
blowout,
next
I'm going
one.
to tell y'all.
Like
that.
you said, there's no bad football teams playing right
not
now.
right now.
So, yeah.
Not right now.
All right, your next matchup comes between a 6 seed and a 7 seed. Something happened to the 2 and 3 along the way.
It's called they lost.
Yeah.
I mean, you take a look at what Amite did to a team
General
that was
trash,
averaging 40 to 50
Yeah.
points a game last week. You look at Jonesboro Hodge, they have been pretty much riding the Jonesboro Hodge wave all the way into the semis. They've have had one of their better years in recent memory. You got Amite, you got Jonesboro Hodge for a trip to the state championship. You got offense versus defense, and this one is the way I can put it. Does Amite's offense gets them back to the state title game, or does Jonesboro Hodge and Xavier Atkins find a way on the road?
I think a meat defense gonna get them back, gonna get them to the dome. I think a meat defense speaks volumes. You know, I'm going with a meat on this one.
Donald, who I said from the beginning who was going to get to the dome?
The meat.
Sticking with him.
I hear you.
You know, Jonesboro Hodge is another one of those schools that's got a lot of tradition and a lot of history. You know, when you drive up to that stadium, and you've got that hill, and the stadium's kind of sunken down, and they've got their big sign about their state champs. You know, and it's intimidating. You
Yeah,
know,
it is.
they.
The many of them.
That's right. And it's just,
Not just a,
That's
the
right.
many of them.
That's
Yeah.
right. They can play some ball, and so to see them in this position is not a surprise. But I think Amite is too talented. I think Amite is you know, the last several years they've just been on a roll,
Right.
and they know how to do it. And I think they're going to be too much for Jonesboro Hodge. I'm going Amite.
When you think about Amite real quick, coming in as the 6th seed, they had to forfeit 2 games at the beginning of the year.
Yeah.
They came into this thinking, there's no way in hell we're going to host a semifinal. You
You're
got
right.
some good squads in front of us, 2 and a 3. There's no way we're going to host a semifinal. Look at them.
Look at them.
Look at them.
Yeah.
They're hosting a semifinal as a 6th seed. You don't see it often.
That's right.
But I'm gonna go with Amy too. There's something about that team. When
Lord, that was a
When Port Barry
That was
played
a
them,
matchup.
that was years ago. Well, not that long ago, but it was like, oh my God, we got to go over there and get a butt whipping, and we did. But I mean, so I've got to go with Amite. I mean, the Amite Warriors, they're the real deal. So I think it's going to be. I honestly think it's going to be a little bit more one-sided. I think Amite's too strong.
Hey,
Yeah.
Donald,
Yo, bro.
speaking of Royals, I'm going to pull a Holden for you.
Okay.
I'm picking Manny, but I'm pulling for Royals.
Oh, I'm gonna tell you straight up.
I put a
And that sound like
I
that sound just like Holden.
That's exactly Holden. What you talking about?
I'm going for
That
the.
way you can pick
Oh,
them
man.
both.
I mean, just looking at Jonesboro's last game, man, you got to think they're going to go into this week thinking, they just skimmed by. And I think
Yeah.
that may give them enough of a wake-up call to say, you know what, enough's enough. We're going to put our foot in the ground. We're going to come and handle our business.
But that's
on
what I'm
the beat.
saying, Josh. They win by the skin of their teeth.
And if they know how to win a close game, you
Yeah.
keep it in that close game,
That-
who's
yeah.
going to win that?
Yeah,
You know?
good
Yeah,
point.
you're right.
Good
Yeah.
point.
So
Yeah.
I'm going to go with Jonesboro.
Uh-oh.
Okay.
Uh-oh. You look at A-Meat, and you look at them shut down General Trash to 2 points and not let an offense that's averaging 40-plus every game this season. That's all I need to see.
That's
That's
right.
it.
Yeah.
Defense wins championships.
Defense wins.
Yeah.
You're right.
Oh, the Big Daddy itself. 3A
3A.
football. What a playoff bracket this has been.
Man.
That 3A, I mean, when
What a
we saw
bracket.
the brackets in 3A, we were like, oh my God.
Huh.
It wide open. That's all you
Yeah,
can say.
yeah,
It's
wide
wide open.
It is.
It's wide open all the way
Yeah.
through.
You're down to the final 4 teams in Class 3A, and you have some dandies of matchups this week. You got power football versus spread in both matchups. Am I
Right.
right? Am I right or am I wrong?
Pretty much.
That's right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Pretty much.
Power football versus spread in both matchups. You got Northern football hosting. You got South football hosting this week. So a
Cornfield
flip.
boys.
You
That's
have
right.
a flip. You got Church Point traveling north. You got Union Parish traveling
Going south.
south. What a 3A bracket has been, and it's all coming down to this.
You're
It's
right.
coming down to the semifinals. We're going to start off with the number 1 seed Sterlington versus the 5 seed Church Point. Can the Battling Bears finally get to the title game? Can Coach finally get his team there? Or is it Sterlington's time to dance in New Orleans once again? It's been 3 years. Is Sterlington heading back? Or is Church Point heading there for the first time?
Well, first of all, you need to get rid of the rankings.
you
know,
right. 'Cause
Because Sterlington 1, Church Point 5.
They're
You
both
know,
undefeated.
They're
They
both
both are.
undefeated,
That's right.
but I mean, I guess it come down once again to the power points. But being right here from this area, I don't care. I'm going with Church Point, because Church Point is representing this area. I'm going with the Point, the Battling Bears. Yeah, Coach. I mean, Sterlington, she's a powerhouse team. We've been looking at them since the beginning of this season, and when I look at their stats, the numbers, hey man, like they're the team to be beat.
That's right.
the team. But I have to go with Church Point on this one.
Sterlington was playing good ball in 2A, winning state championships in 2A. They move up to 3A. People wondered if they could keep it going. They have.
You
they
hit it
look,
right on the
yeah.
nail.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's right.
they look more powerful than they ever have.
Okay, so Sterlington, this is not a this is just not a fly by night
No,
team.
it's in a
thing.
fly
No,
by
they're
night.
good.
absolutely
They're
not.
not
They're
tradition.
two-way now.
They've
Okay,
They're
I didn't
back
know
to
that.
three.
I
been
didn't
doing
know
this a
that.
long time.
Yeah.
Come on, Coach.
But I'm gonna tell you what Coach Arsenault has done at Church Point
Yeah.
in building that program.
Jeez,
He has done a phenomenal job.
right.
And the thing that he's done, that hadn't been a fly by night deal either.
Oh no,
He's been there a long time, and just brick by brick by brick. It hadn't been overnight success. It's been we're a little bit better, we're a little bit better, we're a little bit better, we're a little bit better. That foundation is solid in Church Point.
You're right.
And
Definitely.
right now they are having just one of those special seasons, and they are going to be extremely tough to beat. But so is Sterlington. But I can't go against my boy, Coach Arsenault. I'm going Church
That's
Point.
it. That's what I'm saying.
Coach, is this Coach Arsenault's best team in school history?
I think it is, and it's again. I don't think it's because it's his most talented team. I don't think it's because he's done a better job than he has. I think it's what we talked about earlier. The foundation that he has laid and what he has built is solid. It's not. There's nothing smoke and mirrors about it. It's solid. And this is the result of years and years and years of building and sticking to the philosophy, sticking to what he does. And those kids are bought in. And look, they'll run through a wall for him.
And like I said,
I agree.
They believe
Well,
in his system.
That's right.
Coach,
That's right.
like you said, I'm gonna tell you, it's the system that they believe in. They bought into it, and his feeder program is unbelievable.
That's right.
And these guys, they don't travel very far. They stay in Church Point.
Well, Coach, what I'm being told
You know.
is that beginning of the season, I was being told that they like you said, the feeder program. They the mini football. They start with the flag football,
yeah.
and we talking about the offense and the defense. They teach those kids at the age of 5
That's right.
and 6 years old the Coach Arsenault system.
Right?
Yeah,
Oh yeah.
Darren?
I got to go Church Point. Church Point is gonna be close, but I think that Church Point's defense is sound, guys.
yeah,
They have 7
Yeah.
shutouts.
yeah.
7, right, Jordy? I think it's 7 or 8, maybe. I don't know.
Should be 8 after Donaldsonville.
Unheard of.
Okay.
Unheard of.
And that means, like we said, defense wins championship, but their offense is kicking too.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna go. I think it's gonna be Church Point. I think it's gonna be close for most of the game, but I think Church Point's gonna come out on the end.
And you know why I give Sterlington the respect? Because Sterlington beat Madison Prep, and that's not easy to do.
No, it's not.
I don't know who watched the end of that game last week, but there's a lot of confrontation about it, and a lot of people say that Madison Prep was ripped off from that game. I actually got to see a video of it, and
I
it's
watched.
questionable.
Yeah, we watched it.
It's
We watched
questionable, you know.
Okay.
But like we said earlier, the game's
it. The
over.
game's
Yeah.
over.
Yeah.
Somebody's playing this
Yeah.
Friday.
Yeah, let's move on from it.
Somebody's not.
Yep.
Yep.
No, I'm sticking with the home team, baby. Let's go Church Point.
You like
Yeah,
Sterlington
yes,
at home?
No, I'm sorry. Home to us. Home to
Yes.
us.
Okay.
All right.
There it is. Okay. All right.
Hey, Miss Mindy,
Let me write this down.
what you going?
Gary,
Come on. You got to spill the beans too.
Gary, let me tell you, if St. Martinville doesn't call tonight, and I don't hear from them in the morning,
I'm gonna tell you.
it's a 3-hour trip to Sterlington to watch the Battling Bears
Let's go.
win on Friday night.
Hey,
Let's
you
go.
laugh, but
Let's
we're
go.
talking about that. If we don't get a stream, we are heading to North Louisiana.
Church Point Battling Bears finally get to the
Let's go.
Superdome,
Let's
and
go.
we will see them on Saturday. Go get it done. That's all we
How
can
they
say.
say that?
Go
We
get
can
it
either
done.
rent a van and go all together, or we can just follow each other. I don't care. Let's head up there,
Oh,
dude.
Somebody asked, where's the Union Parish helmets? We would love to get Northern helmets on the table, but we have no ties, and we don't know anybody up there.
Just let us know. We'd love to have them.
Yes.
We'll give you an address to mail it to us, or we'll go meet you halfway and pick it up. We don't care.
All right, ready for the next one? I know this guy is.
Yeah, buddy.
Ladies and gentlemen, I know we have some Union Parish farmers in the,
In the
chat, right now. Give them a break.
We
It is what it is.
He's
we
a
got
St.
we got a
Martinville
big
coach.
St. Martinville guy right there.
He's a St. Martinville coach. All right, let's get that out the way first. All right, now about the game. You got the 3-seed St. Martinville versus the 7-seed Union Parish. Woo!
Yeah,
St.
buddy.
Martinville coming in.
Did I hear
47
something
week
wrong?
1.
You heard?
62 week 2. 59 week 3. Holy offense these last 3 rounds. They have Union Parish coming in Friday night. And what did Union Parish do last Friday? All they did was go into Abbeville and
Spank them.
dominate
Oh, God.
Abbeville. It was not the Trey Holly show last Friday. It was the
No.
number
Donald.
5.
That number
It was
5.
George.
It was Donald.
Yeah, Donald.
Yeah.
I mean, you look at it, and let me spice this one up a little bit more. You got spread athletes everywhere against power football again. Again, we get it in the semifinals. This is at the Ville. This is a trip to the state championship. Union Parish trying to get back to the state championship. They were there last year. St. Martinville trying to get to the state championship and represent Acadiana locals.
That's it, baby.
Donald, St. Martinville or Union Parish, who's going to the Dome?
Don't let me down, Donald.
Oh no, I won't. I'll tell you this. I've been saying this all year. I've been saying this all season.
Let's
St.
go,
Martinville, DeVille.
That's it.
I have much love for St. Martinville. Coach Durant, I think you're doing a phenomenal. Oh, I try to say these big words when I can't pronounce it. Duh.
You from Opelousas, brother.
I'm
It's all right.
serious, I'm
Yeah.
serious.
Hey, we from Port Barry. We understand you.
Right
Hey.
there. Well, I try to say phenomenal. Really? What is he saying? I think Coach Josh Yard doing all y'all awesome, doing an awesome job over there and representing Acadiana. I watched Union Parish, and it wasn't a Trey Hollis show. Like they say, it was the Downward show. To say they have a two-headed monster over there in the backfield, it speaks volumes. But only one could carry the ball at one time. So with that being said, St. Martinville defense, I have a lot of respect for the defense, and they have a very talented quarterback. Fellas, it won't be a blowout like they did with Abbeville. Okay, Abbeville was a team that was the first time there. Coach Durant over there in St. Martinville, he'd been there before. He took a program like Northside and turned around and brought it to the Dome. He did. He's doing the same thing with St. Martinville. Fellas, St. Martinville, and I'm gonna put a spread St. Martinville by 7.
Hey, you've been saying
you've been
on St.
you've
Martinville's
been-
trail all year.
Yeah.
We can't
All
fault
year,
you for that.
That's
This is just not, I just started on the bandwagon, 2 weeks ago with my bologna sandwich. No, my bologna ham. Let's get that no turkey ham. Took me away from the bologna.
Coach Finney, talk to us about this great matchup.
Talk to me, Coach.
Man,
Let me hear you, bro.
It's going to be tough to stop Union Parish.
Yeah.
It's going to be
Yeah.
tough. You're talking about power football. You're talking about physical
Power.
football
Quiet as
coming
rest.
at you for 4 quarters. It's tough to stop. And then you look at St. Martinville. You look at their margin of victory in the playoffs, and it's been close games. And there's a lot to be said for that as well. St. Martinville is no stranger to playing deep in the playoffs either. So
Right.
it's not like they're fly by night and they've never been there before. Historically. We got Josh over here, and I know he's, we got some distance between he and I, but I got to go St. Martinville.
Man, I'm gonna tell you something on this. We went watch them in Abbeville, and you can say what you want about their run game. Their first 3 scores were via the pass.
Yeah, Mr. Butler is no
Their
joke.
first 3 scores were via the pass, and they were not close. They were actually good chunk plays.
His first game back in 8 games,
Yep.
coming off the injury.
So and then Trey Holly, great back, but you wanted a gain charge. You gave it to that fullback, and he just 3, 4, 5 yards a pop. Then when Trey Holly got
big
through the
kid,
line of
too.
scrimmage, guess where he was? In the end zone.
Right.
Yeah.
That's a big kid.
Great situation. St. Martinville. Love that team. Love them. Can they stop the pass, the power run, and Trey Holly? Can they do that? That's the $1 million question.
Tall task.
That is a tall class because if they stop him, he throws the ball. If they stop the power, they give it to Trey Holly, he gets through and he's gone. I'm torn up by this pick because I'll be honest with you, I think either team can win.
You know who the pressure is
Well-
on? Those linebackers. for
Correct.
St.
Oh,
Martinville.
most definitely.
The
Absolutely.
linebackers have to be very, very smart.
Absolutely.
Right. My pick is going to consist of one thing: home field. I think St. Martinville is going to be rocking. I think that it's going to be a
It's gonna be
close
rocking.
ball
Yeah.
game, and I think St. Martinville is going to win. And I'm not going to even say 7. I'm going to say 3, maybe. I think it's going to be that close of a ball game, and that, like I said, there's no bad picks here. Will I be surprised if Union Parish wins? No. Will I be, in my heart, I think I'm pushing for the home team. I'm going St. Martinville. Close game all the way through.
Josh?
Just a question. I mean, does anybody here think that Union should be number 7?
Oh God, no!
No.
I mean, how
we
wrong
talked
is
about
that?
that earlier. I mean,
no,
that's
no,
just
Lord.
the
You know?
Union Parish is the real
There's
deal.
no way.
Sorry.
Absolutely, and the fact that they're here is just a testament to, the dynasty that they've built over there. You
You're right.
can call it a dynasty at this point. Look, it's been what, 2 years in a row now, 3 years in a row. They know what they're up against.
Right.
St. Marville knows what we're up against.
Yeah,
you
they're
know?
0-2 right now
Right.
against
That's it.
Union Parish.
That's
Right.
it, man. And, there's been a lot of talk around the community about getting former players, former coaches, getting as much of the community in that stadium as possible. So y'all say, rock the house. I don't think the moment's too big for them. I think they rise to the occasion. They know what this means. Being able to go back to the Dome for the first time since '85.
I'm gonna go ahead and write his name down.
You're right. You gotta go put it down. He knows.
Oh, you know. Oh, is this a question?
I knew
I
that.
thought you just wanted me to make a statement.
We knew it. We knew it.
Hey, let me tell you
Say
this here.
St. Martinville,
Yeah.
but it's extremely close.
Let me tell you, I've been there when St. Martinville had, and I played. Oh my God, you don't want to play against St. Martinville in that field, that football field.
Especially this deep in the playoffs.
Oh,
Oh, God.
man,
The
man,
Ville
we
is the
played-
real deal, man.
Oh
You-
yeah, we
they-
played
oh,
against St.
God.
Martinville when I was junior and senior over there, and was at Opelousas High School. Then I had to escort Opelousas High School there and out of there. Then I had to escort the basketball team there. And man, you don't want to beat St. Martinville, or you don't want to lose against St. Martinville
Yeah,
or
you're
whatever.
right.
Yeah.
Oh, it's
One
gonna
thing
be
I
tough.
will say. The thing that killed St. Martinville against Lutcher last week, although it looked a lot better than it was as far as the game, defense has absolutely killed St. Martinville. I want to say we had 3 touchdowns pulled back. It was a very undisciplined game, somewhat uncharacteristic of this team. I think Coach Vince cleans that up. I think they come out with a vengeance. I think they're ready for it.
Well, I mean, you don't just beat Lutcher.
No,
That
and,
deep
and
in the
that's
playoffs.
the other
No,
thing.
no,
You want to
no.
talk
You don't just
about
beat
Union's
Lutcher.
running
Yeah.
backs. Lutcher has not 1 but 2, and these guys are bruisers. Don't get
Yeah.
me wrong.
Yeah.
The
You
linebackers
just don't come out
were,
and
they had their
beat
hands
Lutcher
full
like that.
last week, and that's kind of why I feel a little more confident going into this game, having played Lutcher the week before.
Yep. All right, we talked about wanting an all Acadiana state championship game between Church Point and St. Martinville, right?
Oh, that would
What-
be-
what-
that would
that
be-
would be a dream scenario for us fans to go watch.
Yeah.
You're right.
St. Martinville, explosive, talented football team against a Union Parish, physical, big, talented football team. It's one of those matchups where you love the matchup. You could throw the seeds out the window and let the best football team win after 4 quarters. After 4 quarters of football, the last team standing heading to the state championship will be Union Parish. That is my pick.
You know you're standing right next to me.
Physical football game.
That's it.
It will be physical.
And the thing about it is that either team can win. Union Parish, man, we were talking about that whenever we were leaving. Those boys, that's some men.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
That is some men
They
that
are,
comes up.
yeah.
They are some big boys. And thick. I was like going, oh my God, these guys, they'll run flat over you.
Tell you what, if that was a down game for Trey Holly last week, I hate to see what a good game looks like.
You're right.
Oh, God. Yeah.
You're right.
And one more thing I will say, and something I've noticed the last few times that I've got to see St. Martinville play this year, is that they normally come out a little flat at halftime. They're not a third quarter team. The fourth quarter comes around, and it's to the races. You know, it's not going to be able. You're not going to be able to do that against this team. You know, you're going to have to play 4
Yeah,
quarters
yeah.
of football.
That's what I'm saying. You got to play
Hard-nosed football.
4 hard-nosed quarters of football. Smash mouth. Go for it.
Either way, I'll be at that state championship game next Saturday.
You're
Watching-
right.
Absolutely.
Watching whichever
doesn't matter who
4
it is.
get there.
Yeah.
Yep.
It doesn't matter who it is.
All right.
Where's
moving-
Holden?
Moving on to Class 4A. Edna Carr has 5 state championships in 10 years. Edna Carr has not missed the state championship game since 2015. Westgate, they've been battle tested this year.
Yeah.
They have played, correct me if I'm wrong, Karen Crow, St. Thomas More, and St. Martinville. Am I wrong? Westgate.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
So they have seen some good football teams this year, but they have to go against the Giant this week. Can they somehow take down the Cougars and keep them from what is a holiday for them, going to the Superdome? Edna Carr, Westgate in the semifinals. Is this Edna Carr heading back to the Dome pit? I mean, we talk about the local. We want to support the locals. But sometimes you have to use your head.
Well, you have to be realistic. You know, I mean,
You're right.
you know, Westgate. I think they had an awesome season.
You're right, Chris.
But unfortunately, I think it's coming to an end.
Okay.
Friday night. I think in the car. And I have a lot of people in.
Use it. You gotta use it.
Yeah, but
Sometimes it's like,
I
oh
think
my.
in the car gonna be too much
Oh, God.
for our Westgate Tigers. You know, I want to say I hope they make Malawalai. I hope Westgate could pull it out, but in the car just gonna be too
Westgate's DBs versus Edna Carr's receivers. I'm taking the Cougars.
much. I'm going with in the car. I'm going with in the car on this one.
Yeah, it's a pretty easy pick for me. I'm going in the car. They're just too much.
Yeah.
The University of Edna
right.
Carr.
That's
Say
right.
like Holden.
That's it.
Yep.
So, I want to share a quick story. So,
Man,
I've
it's-
actually been on the opposite sidelines of Edna Carr, having played them in the playoffs. And I don't know if any of you have ever seen them come out in the death march that they do.
Yes.
But you want to talk about the absolute,
Most intimidating thing.
absolutely most intimidating thing you've ever seen. To this day, I want to say that is the most intimidating
Oh, yeah.
I have ever been in my athletic career.
Oh yeah.
I don't think Westgate stands a chance. And as much as I want to pull for them,
Stand a chance.
I'm sorry, I don't think they do. They do have a great defense. I just don't think that there's anybody in the state, period, that can stop Edna Carr.
Yeah.
But in our words that we've been saying all year, this is the University of Edna Carr. This is not just Edna Carr. This is the
not-
University of
absolutely.
Edna Carr.
Absolutely.
Garrett,
And-
we love going to the Dome to see that entrance and
Oh.
that band.
Yeah,
Oh,
most
God,
definitely.
yeah.
Yep. All right. Who at the bottom of the bracket will get to them? And this is familiar territory. 3 of these 4 teams have been there time and time again. Warren Easton, you look at their resume coming in, holy hell. 59 points round 1, 67 round 2, 63 round
That's what I'm
3.
looking at.
Offensive explosion
Yeah.
for Warren Easton. You look at Neville. They got Quick Six Allen over there. They got Will Campbell over there. They got some D1 ready athletes theirself over there. You look at them. They shut out a really good Cecilia offense. They took care of a hostile environment of Karen Crow.
Yeah.
Scary matchup there for
Yeah.
them. They all knew that not to look ahead. And then they just shut out men in the first round. You look at it. Is this Warren Easton's offense versus Devils defense, Vinny? Is that what's going to happen on Friday night? Is that what it's going to come down to?
I think that's what it looks like on paper, but I think it's more to it than that. I mean, obviously Neville's going to have to play great defense, but they
Yeah.
always play great
Yeah,
defense.
exactly.
Right.
They're always so sound on that side of the football. So, it's going to be more than just their defense versus the offense. But that's obviously one of the headlines going in.
Don?
Never, it won't be no pushover. You know, I mean, never know how to carry his own. You know, can they handle their business against Warren Easton? Well, we're going to see. But, on paper, you're looking at Warren Easton is a scoring machine. You
Yeah.
know, but never has known to shut down some powerhouse offenses. Now we're asking each other right now. We're asking the panel, well, who we gonna pick? You know, I think we'll come down to the state championship. I think it'll be another New Orleans show.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
I'm going with Warren Easton.
So that'd be a rematch between Edna Carr and Warren Easton.
Warren
That was a
Easton.
2-point win for Edna Carr in the regular season. They scored in the final 30, 40 seconds in that one.
I have
That-
much respect, like for
That could be
Westgate
another good one.
and Neville. I have much respect for both of those teams, but it's gonna be another New Orleans show.
New Orleans showdown for the title, huh?
Yep.
Vinny?
Man, one of the things that gets me, Neville's always powerful.
Yes.
You don't go to
Right.
the Crow Dome in the playoffs and win. And they did
Right.
that. And I just think, when I think of Neville, I just think it's more than just talent. You can't just show up with a talented football team and just win on talent alone.
Right.
Neville's so well coached.
Yes.
They're so physical. They're so fundamentally sound. They're technicians of the game. So you're going to have to win that battle. And then if you can do that, let your talent take over. So I think Neville's going to be too strong in those fundamental football areas. And I think that in a very close game, in a war, I think they're going to beat Warren Easton.
Could this be a special
I hear
teams difference maker
A
type of
special
night?
teams
Could
difference
be.
maker
Yeah.
definitely could be. Definitely could
So
be.
you rolling with Neville?
I'm rolling with Neville.
I hear
Derek?
you. I hear you, little bro.
Man, in this matchup, I think it's going to be close. But I'm gonna go with the home team. I think Neville's gonna be a little bit. Warren Easton's gonna go in there. They have to travel, but man, I think Neville is gonna do what it takes, and I think they're gonna get to the dome.
Josh?
I think if Neville's able to slow down that offense of Warren Easton, and
But that's it,
Play-
Josh.
play
Can they
sound
do it?
ball.
Yeah.
I mean that's your only shot, if we're being completely honest.
Right.
Yeah.
But I don't know that they're able to do that. That's what
Yeah.
I'm getting at. I
But,
don't know that you're able to stop those horses at Warren Easton.
Yeah.
You
Right.
know?
Oh, most
One-
definitely.
And once they get on a roll, I mean, it's demoralizing. You know that you can't keep up with that offense, so you're solely relying on that defense. I'm gonna go with Warren Easton, man.
All right, we take a look at this one. Split panel so far. Warren Easton, Neville for a shot at the state championship live on Neville Tiger Network. So if you want to watch that one, you have all the opportunity in the world. You look at a couple key things in this one. You look at how will Neville's secondary match up with this Warren Easton receiving core,
Right.
and how will the offensive line and defensive line, the offensive line for Neville and the defensive line for Warren Easton, who's going to win the line of scrimmage, who's going to win the turnover battle, and also I think it is very hard and difficult to go into Neville and win this deep into the playoffs. Home field advantage still lives in Louisiana high school football.
Right.
Neville
No doubt.
at home, special teams, a turnover, and winning the line of scrimmage is what I think
Right.
sends them
Good
to
pick.
the Superdome.
Good pick.
There's no bad picks now.
No,
in
no.
this round, guys. There's none.
Well, you're right, Charlie.
Now we
Who our
going-
coaches who?
Now we going to the big boys.
You talk about 5A. You talk about two undefeated teams starting out this semifinal matchup. If I told you Zachary was down 34-7 last week and Storm rode their way all the way back to win in double overtime 37-34, you would call me crazy. But Zachary, with Coach Brew, continue to have great football teams over there
Right.
and continue to set themselves up to semis or further. But they have a quiet Destrehan football team that's also undefeated coming in to Bronco Country this week. You talk a battle of giants, you got it in 5A football this week. You throw these two seeds out because this very well could be your state championship
Yes.
game.
Yeah.
Oh, most definitely. most
Zachary Destrehan for the right to represent 5A in the state championship game. It's going to be a great matchup. Let's debate it.
I've been riding with Zachary all season, and I ain't gonna get off the horse now. I'm going with Zach. Yeah.
I think what you saw last week with Zachary is, Coach Bruton does a great job over there. But what I think you saw last week with Zachary was, hey, we're Zachary, we just win,
Yeah.
and they came out a little flat,
Yeah.
and they were like, whoa, hold up, we're in a football game here,
Yeah.
and then you saw what they could do, and they
Yeah,
come
with no
back
die
Right.
action.
and win that way. I don't think you see that this week. I think Coach Brew gets that straight. I'm going with Zachary.
Yeah.
I gotta agree with you on that. I think Zachary's going to be a little bit too strong. I think he's going to set up a great final, in the dome. But I think Zachary's going to be too strong.
Josh?
So, man, this is like splitting hairs here.
It is.
It's tough.
It is.
It's
This-
tough.
When you
So-
get to this point, Flip
I'm
a
a-
coin.
I'm gonna go with familiarity. Believe it or not, my high school strength and conditioning coach is now at Zachary. I'm gonna ride with Coach Little. I'm gonna ride with Zachary. Closing it out over Destrehan, for sure.
Tell you what, Zachary's strength and conditioning coach is one of those that look like he should be in the SEC somewhere.
Yeah, yeah.
You're right. You're right.
Yeah, it's hard to bet against Coach Brew in the playoffs unless he's playing against Acadiana.
Right.
It's the only time we really bet against him.
Yeah.
So we're gonna bet on him this week and say the Broncos head back to the state championship game. It's been a few years,
Right.
but I think they're going back.
Yeah.
They're not the number 1 seed and undefeated for no reason.
You're right.
All right, a big one here. Ponchatoula. It's been 60, 70 years
Yeah.
since they've been.
It's been a long time.
It's been a long time. Acadiana, they were there last year.
Mm-hmm. They won it last year.
You look at it. You made a great statement earlier. I'm not sure what game it was. You said, I think it was Manny and the Voyles. You said Manny has been here before. They know how to win the big one. Ponchatoula, they have not been here before.
Yep.
Acadiana knows how to win the big one. Does that play into a factor into this one? Ponchatoula, what can you say about the season they've had? They are red hot right now. They have a loaded football team. They got Division I talent on that football team. They are the real deal. You look at their last 3 meetings. Acadiana has had the upper hand on Ponchatoula in the playoffs. Can Ponchatoula finally get to the promised land this week? You got Fear to Veer coming into town. You got Acadiana that has peaked at the right time.
Yeah.
I mean, you look at Acadiana, they turn it on down the stretch. Their 9-district schedule set them up
Right.
for right
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
After they lost they lost 2 games
Yeah.
and
To two
to
teams that are playing for a state
Right.
championship.
and they have been on a roll ever since.
Ponchatoula, Acadiana to go to a 5A state championship. It does not get any better than that on live on VSN. Donald,
I told you guys at the beginning of the season when Acadiana lost those 2 games, they set themselves up for the long haul, and that's what they're doing. Fellas, Acadiana record rounds been there before. They know, leave me alone.
with
Oh, I thought you was
comments.
No,
laughing.
look
My
at-
bad, my bad. I thought you.
No, my friend Mindy, she's at Lafayette High Grass. She says, "Go Rams," but I'm not wearing green and gold. I got you, Mindy. We got you.
Right, man. I was blaming Gary for something.
Oh no, he thought I was getting ready to dog him.
Yeah. But honestly, I'm going with the Rams on this one. Acadiana. Yeah, I'm pushing Acadiana on this one.
Vinny?
Yeah, I mean, this is Acadiana's time.
Yeah.
This is their time of year. This is
Yeah.
when they start playing their best football, and look, that's what they're built for, and that's what this offense is built for, to make these deep runs in the playoffs. And man, you can't, I can't, you can, anybody, but I can't bet against Acadiana right now. We're
you're
going
right.
we're going Acadiana with Ponchatoula.
You know my pick. Go Rams. Fear the Veer. Ain't no denying it, man. I love that offense. I love Acadiana. I love to watch them.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with that as well. I think that's got to be the easy choice. I mean, just let that beer wear him down, take it to the house.
Acadiana, quest for a 3-peat will live another day. And they will head to the state title game. It's not going to be a lopsided score here. I don't think so. If it is, holy hell, what a rebuilding year for Acadiana.
Yeah.
You're right.
Because they were not supposed to be where they at right now.
Yeah.
No, they were supposed to be completely rebuilding because they lost so many.
Gary, Fear to Veer, all the way to Bourbon Street. New Orleans, we'll see you next Friday night.
You right.
Next Saturday night
Saturday
to
night for
close
him.
out
Yeah.
the state championship games. I have to see Acadiana in the Dome. next
I'm
week.
ready for New Orleans. How about you guys?
Yes, sir.
All right, you take a look at 2 games that are going to happen this coming Saturday. Division 1 and Division 3. We're going to start off with Division 3. You take a look at it. You got offense, you got defense. You got Lafayette Christian Academy versus St. Charles Comets. LCA, their drive for 5. St. Charles, 0-2 so far against LCA in state championship games. Can they get number 3 and bring a state title back to Comet Country? LCA St. Charles, live from Tulane University, Ullman Stadium, 2 p.m. kickoff for the Division 3 state title game. Let's talk about it.
Hey, LCA, baby. I'm a believer. The drive for 5. Coach.
LCA's got too much talent.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm going with LCA.
I'm with you, Coach. I'll be honest with you. I don't think this game's going to be close.
No.
I do not think this game is going to be close. I think LCA is too dominant.
Yeah.
I think they're going to overpower St. Charles defense. I think it's going to be in a rout. I think it's going to be LCA in a rout.
Oh, I completely agree. Yeah, I'm going to go with LCA as well. But I think, man, help me out here, fellas. Does anybody know the name of that little quarterback at LCA?
Sophomore, that's all I know.
That's all I
Sophomore.
He's a sophomore.
Did y'all see the
guys.
stats he put up against Newman?
Shoot, what's that
I mean,
kid
good
name?
Lord. No, I
Crazy.
think regardless of how good St. Charles' defense is, I don't think their offense is good enough to keep up with LCA's. I think LCA runs away with it.
Yeah. LCA punches their ticket into the record books to be the 5th straight state champion, joining John Curtis. Here's my question before we shut this one down. Does LCA, by the time it's all said and done, win a state title in every division?
Yeah.
Division 4, Division 3, Division 2 they're going to next year. This is their final year in Division 3. Before it's all said and done, because you know they're getting kids over there out the butt because everybody wants to play for LCA. They're going to Division 2 next year. They're a favorite to win it again. They could compete with those big dogs in Division 3. Before it's all said and done, will they win all 4 divisions?
There's a chance.
I ain't gonna tell them. I ain't gonna say no because look what they're doing now. I'm gonna say yes.
There's a chance for them to do that because they're going to stay in Division 2 for a while. Then before you know it, they're going to move up to Division 1.
Let me ask you something, Coach Vanny. Would you like to play up?
Would I like to play
To-
LCA?
Yeah, to measure.
No, we don't want to play LCA right now.
Give him a few years.
Give us a few
Yeah.
years. I don't think they'll win in every division. I think if they eventually move up to Division 1, I think that'll be too much for them to handle. But
Okay.
Well, that's where your Jesuits, your Catholic of Baton Rouge
Right.
Yeah, they
is,
did
and all
play.
that stuff.
They
Your
did
brother
play
Martin's.
Catholic of Baton Rouge this year.
and they're setting that up.
Yeah.
They're
Yeah.
setting it up to
Exactly.
be able to compete with those guys by playing them now. But that's a whole different deal.
Yeah.
That's a whole
As
different
a
I
deal.
agree
coach,
with
let
you.
me ask you this. Is that something you want to aspire to be, or do you want to get to where you know what you have, and you know it doesn't matter who I play, I'm the best there is?
Yeah, I think, personally speaking, you want to make the best of what you have,
Mhm.
and I think that, a school like us, we're built differently than LCA.
Right.
Yeah.
And so, you're talking about different locations, you're talking about just a whole different type of resources and pool and stuff like that. So, what they're doing, they're trying to be the best, period, is
Right.
what they're trying to do.
Across the board.
Across the
Right.
board. And that's what they're going after. And you look at their non-district schedule, that's the purpose of that.
Yeah.
But if you're going to get into that Division 1, you're going to have to put together a non-district schedule that's going to match what you face in the playoffs. If you play up to Division 1, you may not necessarily be in a Division 1 type district. So you're going to have to make sure your non-district schedule has some serious superpowers on
Yeah.
there
Right.
to try to get ready for those playoffs.
Yeah.
The teams in Division 1, they're playing that for 10 weeks straight before they get to the playoffs.
Right.
So LCA would have to build a schedule, which, like I said, they're doing now, but they're going to have to build that schedule to where they can compete in those 1A playoffs for 5 weeks or 4 weeks.
You're
Right. I agree.
Shifting gears, heading to the Division 1 state championship game, live from Tulane University, Ullman Stadium, 7 p.m. kickoff, which is going to be a Rockets crowd because you know Catholic of Baton Rouge travels.
Yeah.
You know Jesuit ain't been there in a long time. You know they're coming.
Yeah. And they don't have to
Vinny-
travel far.
That's right.
Vinny, you take a look at this. This is Coach's second shot at a state championship ring. Coach Arsenault, David Arsenault, new head football coach at Catholic of Baton Rouge.
Semino.
Semino got his team into the state championship in year one. And you look at it now, he has a really good defense to play in Jesuit. Jesuit, if you could take down Brother Martin like what they did last week, holy hell. They got something cooking over there. Catholic of Baton Rouge, is it going for 3 in a row or 2 in a row? I'm not sure.
3 in a row.
3 in a row, Catholic of Baton Rouge is going for. We're going to be there. We're going to watch that one live. Gary, are you going?
I'm planning on it. I got to
Okay.
work out some things, but I'm planning on it.
Okay. Well,
That's gonna be
if you're
interesting.
there, we'll see you. Catholic of Baton Rouge, Jesuit to be crowned the Division I state champs. Who we got?
I'm going with Catholic BR. Yeah, I'm going with them. Going with BR. I think BR gonna bring it home.
Excuse me.
You know, Coach Semino and I coached together for 3 years. We coached against each other for 3 years. You know, so maybe I'm a little biased, but you know, the job that he's doing over there was no guy that was a better fit to take over that program than David Semino. And you know, he and I speak quite often, and I've got a lot of intel for this week of practice with them. I'm not going to give any of that away, but I'm going to tell you that they'll be ready to play football. They're going to be. You're going to see a Catholic Baton Rouge team in this game that's been more.
Jesuit all the way up until just now.
I'm with him. I think Catholic of Baton Rouge is just going to be too strong. That's the easiest way to put it. I think Catholic of Baton Rouge is just gonna do it.
No, absolutely. And I mean, you want to talk about Edna Carr and Edna Carr being a feeder program to D1 universities. I mean, Catholic of BR is right there with them.
Yeah, no doubt.
You know,
Oh, no doubt. Yeah,
don't forget
most
that.
They got some good talent come out of BR. Yep.
You're right.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think it's Catholic of BR. They've been here. They know what it takes. And it's, like you said, you got me ready to run through a brick wall.
Let's go.
Go Bears.
Yeah. Catholic of Baton Rouge, and first year head coach gets it done, which is going to be an outstanding football game and atmosphere. 2 teams that love physical football on Saturday night. We can't wait to get there.
You're right.
gonna
I'm
be-
excited.
gonna be-
2 questions, and we'll close this one out real quick. Number 1, it's just a little quick funny one. Edna Carr moves up to 5A next year. They win the state title. Yes or no?
Yes.
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 Ooh,
Okay.
Say it's Gary.
yes. I would say probably.
Donald,
If not, they'll be in the finals.
Yeah.
Vinny, Josh, Gary, most memorable playoff game you ever had a chance to coach in or experience in your time?
Oh, Opelousas
Tell,
High.
tell us a story.
Opelousas High. John Curtis. John Curtis took Opelousas High.
1992.
There you go. Down Garden
Down
Stadium.
Garden Stadium, huh?
Yeah, three overtime.
That's
and,
right.
Coach
Talking
Dochick
about
and his Tigers pull it up.
Championship game or
No, this
Okay.
in the playoffs.
playoffs.
Take
Yeah.
us through one of your most memorable games.
Yeah.
Oh my
Coach Vinny.
Oh, man, there's been a few, but I got to say 2019 Southern Lab at their place in the semifinals, and we beat them 21-8, and went to the Dome, and that was a heck of a football team we beat, and a great group of kids we had on our football team, senior leaders that were just, man, phenomenal. We had to do very little coaching in the playoffs because those seniors, they said, we're going to put this team on our back, and we're going to make sure everybody is doing what they're supposed to do and practicing the way they're supposed to practice. And I'm going to tell you what, Southern Lab came out pregame, ran out to the 50, trying to intimidate our guys, and one of our senior leaders said, we're going to let them do that to us? Our team charges to the 50, and we're nose to nose right here.
Hello.
The two teams, and it was, I think at that moment, like Southern Lab was like, okay, these boys are here to play.
Yeah.
And and we shut down a very powerful offense. And,
Y'all are the same team
yeah.
that ride on the bus to the stadium fully dressed, helmets on, strapped up, and also whenever y'all hung 60 on us for Port Barre, y'all were playing y'all were doing big cat drills on the 50-yard
That's
line
right.
in pregame.
That's right.
Y'all are that same team.
That's us. That's us.
In pregame, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
God.
So I'd have to say Southern Lab semifinals 2019.
Wow.
Gary, talk some Port Barre history for us.
Man, I'm gonna be honest with you. This was the year. This is not the championship game. This is not the year but this is the year Port Barre won state in 02. The semifinal game before the championship game, and I want to say it was. Man, I don't remember right off the top of my head. I guess my Alzheimer's kicking in.
Golly.
I don't remember, but that was pegged the championship game of the because we played Iota in the finals. But I want to say it was maybe Parkview
Manny
or who was it?
at Shreveport Independence Stadium.
Oh, I remember that one too.
Oh, that ain't
Well,
the
no,
same
that
one?
ain't the one I'm talking about. No, the one at Independence Stadium was a joke because Manny came out doing all kind of flips and stuff like that, and I just was like, y'all got to be kidding. And we ended up, it was 28-0 within the first 5 minutes of the game. And it was pretty bad. But no, this was at home at Red Devil Stadium, and it was the back and forth game, hard nosed. Probably the closest game Port Barre played that year. The final score was 17-7. And I watched these kids go from high school players to young men
Yeah,
Only one game.
in one game.
that's awesome.
Wow.
Marvin White, if you know my beloved team, Daniel Francis,
Yeah,
Abdul Levier,
Yeah.
Marvin White,
yeah.
Chris
Keys, Bing,
Alec Bing.
Alex Bing, the quarterback that never played most of the year and came out and won. Marvin White jumping up and down like a 5-year-old kid, jumping up and down after we win. And he walks up to Coach Perron, we walking off the field. And he says, "Coach, we're going to win and he said an expletive, I can't say what he said, state championship." And he's jumping up and down and running to the den, to the dressing area. And that's the most memorable game that I watched as far as closeness, but we pulled it out at the end to get that 10-point win. And I was like, this is the best game I've ever seen, other than the championship game, of course. But
Right.
this was where the boys became men. And then against Iota scored first in the championship game, and after that it was like, okay, we had enough. And then they just never let them score.
That's right.
And it was like, okay, that one game right there was my most memorable out of all of my times.
Josh?
Cool.
Awesome. So I'm actually going to take it back to 2002, the last time that St. Martinville actually made it to the semifinals. And I'll never forget that game. I was on the sideline that game. I don't know how old I was going to be. I might have been 10 years old at the time. I don't know. But I'll never forget, last play of the game, we need a first down in order, well, excuse me, not last play, but fourth quarter, I want to say maybe, 20-something seconds left. We're playing against Neville, and we need a first down. We need maybe 1 yard to be able to seal the deal, go to the dome. And I'll never forget, Bo Lossane gets a shotgun snap and bobbles it, and Neville ends up getting the ball back, returning it for a touchdown. Game over.
Ooh.
Oh,
I mean,
that
that's about as
Heartbreaking.
excruciating of a loss, and that's something that'll be burned
wow.
in my mind for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
You know, having grown up a St. Martinville fan, having relative Coach Delahousie was the coach there for the longest time. You know, and to see all the hard work, and that was early Deuce at senior year, as a matter of fact. I want to say, you know, and to see that team and the greatness that they had and not be able to fulfill their destiny, it was
Yeah.
tough.
And speaking of Coach Delahousie, there's a quote that he made in the paper. This must have been around 1998, and
Wait till next week.
for the longest time, I photocopied it and blew it up, and had it hanging in my office. And I forgot who they played, and they won, and they didn't throw a pass all game. And the quote in the paper was, when they asked him about it, he said, "Anytime you don't throw a pass, that means you won the football game."
Oh, wow.
Whoa.
That's his,
Okay.
that was his motto, man.
That was, hey,
Okay.
Control the clock, baby.
That's right.
right.
Beautiful quote.
Very.
All right. They had some good ones in the past. I've seen Livonia and Church Point in the playoffs. I've seen blocked
Right.
field goals. I've seen game-winning field goals. I've seen a little bit of this and a little bit of that. Been around a lot of football these last few years. I can't date back those many years that you just did, but the last few years, if I remember,
Says I'm old. That's what it is.
if I remember correctly, one of my most memorable games would be the Acadiana and Hahnville game when we got a chance to see Puka Williams live in
Right.
that overtime thriller. So that would be one of my most memorable playoff games that I got a chance to see.
I remember that game, and I'll be honest with you. Everybody knew what was going to happen, but they couldn't stop him.
Coach,
That's sad.
final question goes to you, and we'll close this one out. You've been here before, okay? You were in the shoes of these high school coaches that are going into this week. Here's what I have, and I want to know. Getting ready for a big semifinal game or a state championship, what is the last message to the kids during that week or right before the game? Also, to piggyback that, this late in the season, take us through a particular week of practice. Do you see many days of pads? Do you see a lot of just walkthroughs? What is it like? Because we're not familiar with what really goes on. I know you're trying to avoid injury. What is this late in the season practice-wise, and also getting ready for a big game? What was the final words y'all told y'all kids?
Well, I think first of all, when you make it this deep, you have a group of kids that maybe haven't gone that deep before. Maybe they have. The message to them is, hey, we're here for a reason. So if you're doubting yourself or you don't think you can compete this week, remember, you're here for a reason. When you put it in perspective of, hey, you are part of the Final Four or you're part of the Final Two, you deserve to be here. You did what had to be done. You have earned it. Don't doubt yourself now.
Yeah.
If there was a time to doubt yourself, it would have been in district or it would have been non-district. But right now, this deep, don't doubt yourself. Be who you are. Have confidence in your teammates. Have confidence in your brothers. Have confidence in the preparation. And just go play your game. Now, as far as practice, you do take the pads off. And the biggest deal is you're working on the fundamentals. You're going back to your bread and butter. You're going back to who you are. You're going back to what got you there. Are you blocking right? Or are you tackling right? You start nitpicking all of those little things, the footwork, the hand placement, the head placement on tackles, the alignment, on the defensive line, your alignment with the linebackers. What does your back end look like? Obviously you're facing whatever offense and defense that you're facing, but you have your own system in place. You're not going to reinvent the wheel and start teaching something new. You're going to go back to your fundamentals that you did in camp and make sure that you are tuned in and locked in and very strong in your fundamentals. Because, look, you may be playing a more talented team, and in the end the talent might get you, but you don't want to say we lost because our fundamentals were not intact. We lost because our technique was not good. If you play great fundamental football, you play according to your technique, you play the way you're coached, and you play that way and you lose, you have nothing to be ashamed of. But if you get beat because you weren't physical enough or you get beat because your technique was bad, or you didn't play hard, or you were taking bad steps on this play when you should have been doing this, then that's a whole different story. Because everything in the playoffs is accentuated. A bad step that you got away with in district, you're not going to get away with in the semifinals.
Right.
So that's the deal. That's what the practice looks like. You don't want to get too much out of your routine, but you do want to back off of the pads a little bit, and you want to take all that time and the individual time of practice to make sure your technique and your fundamentals are on point.
See a lot more film study go on.
A lot more film study.
A lot more chalk talk.
Yeah, I mean, that's going to happen earlier in the week, and it's going to happen over the weekend. Once you start getting around today, Wednesday, if you're just starting to get started on that stuff, you're behind.
Right.
You got to do that over the weekend, and that's the other thing. The preparation. Your kids understand. Look, you played a tough game on Friday, but expect to be here a long time on Saturday, and you're probably going to have to be here on Sunday too, because we have to get everything in terms of film study and game planning before we get to that practice field on Monday. When you're in non-district and you're in the district, even you can tweak your game plan Wednesday, even maybe Thursday, and you're tweaking all week. But when you get this deep, you want to try to have that stuff in at the latest Tuesday. So you're not tweaking too much. The film study and stuff should happen over the weekend. But you put it on the kids. Look, you got Huddle, you got all this technology. You should be watching your opponent at home every night. And hey, you got Christmas break coming up. Yeah, you got school, but you know what? Sorry, school is secondary when you're in the semifinals.
Yeah, you're right.
So you don't study biology, go study Huddle.
Yeah.
You put that on the kids to look at the guy you're going against, and look at the guy you're gonna have to tackle, and look at the guy you're gonna have to guard, and know what he does. Know what he does on that post route. Is there a tail that he's doing with his head or his shoulders that the post is coming? What's his difference between his post and his post corner? See those different types of things. And that's on the kids. You're not going to be able to simulate that very well with your scout team. So that's going to be on the kids to know, and that's on them. But in terms of coaches and practice, you want to stick to your routine, stick to the fundamentals, stick to what got you there.
You heard it first, ladies and gentlemen, from someone that has been in the shoes of the high school coaches this week. Outstanding to hear.
Y'all started all-season training?
Outstanding to
We're gonna
hear
start January.
those statements because we're not too familiar with it. It's been, 20 years
More diligence.
since Pillsbury's been in this type of environment?
02 was
Yeah.
the last time they won. Well, the 01-02 season, and man, that's been a long time, and great memories. But man, we want to get back to that.
All right, final words heading into week 14. Final words, Donald, heading into week 14.
Hopefully we'll get to New Orleans. Miss Cookie and our schedule could allow us. We have, I really want to check out these games. But our local teams, Acadiana, LCA, St. Martinville guys, be safe and bring it home. Bring the ship back home.
Right.
Congratulations to the coaches and the players and schools that have made it this far. I would tell the young men, if there are any players watching right now, congratulations. These moments are this week, and congratulations.
Man, you must have been in my brain because that's almost what I was going to say.
Yep.
Congratulations to everybody, coaches, staff, everybody, players, parents for supporting your kids, parents for doing what you got to do. The only thing I want to say is remember, stay safe, use your brain, don't do anything crazy. A lot of things happening, with the holidays is everything like that, but remember your focus. Your focus is to play. Your focus is to put it together,
right.
and hopefully you'll be able to, get to the next game. If ever you do, that's great. If ever you don't, seniors especially, cherish every minute, because not everybody's going to the next level. Cherish what you've done, cherish what you have accomplished, and enjoy your life, and set your goals high.
Yeah, and I guess just to hit on what both of you said, it's about cherishing the moment. Congratulations, before I go any further, to everybody who's made it this far, but especially to those seniors. When that final whistle blows, whether you win or lose, it's still a painful memory to this day. I remember exactly where I was the last time that whistle blew, and I had to take those pads off. Cherish every second that you have a chance to be on that field and represent the school that you love. So that's all I've got.
Hey, Coach, good luck, man. Thank you. Good luck. Godspeed.
Good luck.
Yeah. Congratulations to all the teams that are still standing in this 2021 playoffs. What a playoffs it's been so far.
Yes.
We've seen upsets. We've seen game of the years. We've seen crazy stories come from this year's playoffs, and the story will continue this Friday night. The book has not been finished written of this 2021 playoffs. We have some champions to crown Saturday.
Right.
We have some state championship to punch their ticket on Friday night. We're going to be tuning in all across the state. I can't wait to support the locals Friday night. How many locals get to the Dome? I can't wait to find out, because we're going to be there supporting them. How
Most
many
definitely.
locals get there? We wish you best of luck. Enjoy the rest of your week. It's going to be fun football, because when you get in the semis, there's not an empty seat to be found.
No, you're
When you
right.
get into the semis, you better get there early. You better find the tailgate. You better find your seat, because if you don't, you're going to be stuck in traffic. You're going to be stuck in standing room only, and you're going to miss the first half of a damn good football game.
So that means we got to leave early.
Got to leave early.
That's it.
All right. For one last time, we will see you Friday night somewhere. We don't know where, but we will see you Friday night somewhere. From one more time, from Under the Lights, it has been a pleasure to give you high school football weekly. It has been a pleasure to cover these games this year. It has been a pleasure to do what we have done this year. Thank you very much to the panel tonight. Special guest picker, Coach Vinny. Special guest picker, Mr. Josh. Special people in the crowd tonight, Miss Cookie, Miss Holly, and Baby Espen. From Mr. Donald Young, Coach Vinny, Mr. Gary Swallow, myself, and Mr. Josh, we say good night, best of luck, enjoy the rest of your week, and we will see you at the recap show Friday night. This has been Under the Lights, and we will see you next time.